stop sharing screen. There you go. That should do it. Oh, no, it's gone on to the next one. We're about to have chilled out music with a window. You don't need that. Right. How are you? How has it been? What have you been up to? That kind of stuff. Already had loads of PC shit. It really is. Usually, this one will crash. So I stuck that one on. And even though I had that muted, right, it's started to echo. Dark forces. Could be spiritual. Could be something playing around. Could be an update that's making it all play like shit. Or it just could be me. But I am sober. Haven't had a drink since last weekend. Was it? Yeah. Last pint was on Sunday. 1 pint. There you go. So, true as you can do it, but doesn't exactly give you to get up and go. That's the problem here. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Well, there's quite a lot, actually. So let's see if we can start throwing things up. I had a look at Twitter, actually. Fucking A. London, Swindon, and all sorts of other parts of the UK at the moment going quite fucking wrong because they've got a load of pro-Palestinian people out shouting. Well, let's go and have a look, actually, shall we? So I saved it all, which is ideal. And where did I put it? That'll be right. There. Oh, that wasn't so bad. Sorts it all out and then fucking loses it. Right. Where do we start? Let's go down a bit. There's some fucking shit on here. There really is. I'm going to see if I can share it. Right. Let's go from there. Maya Tuzi, he posted something earlier on. Let's see if we can present. Share. Okay. Interesting. Would have thought that would have been bigger. Nevertheless, there you go. You get the idea. So they're out collecting for the Poppy appeal. Basically, the money goes to the British Legion to help people who have suffered through war. That they've gone to war for us, and they've either got injured or it's for the people who have lost people or whatever. Anyway, as you can see here, there's 3 people, and the rest of the people are protesting them, and all different colors. Do you know some of the worst protagonists at the moment actually are white? I don't know if any of you have seen McDonald's. Apparently, McDonald's have been feeding the Israeli army. There used to be a rumor, and I had to look into it before I came on here to make sure that I got it right. There used to be a rumor that the McDonald's paid the IRA. It turns out that that wasn't actually the case, that there was a pension fund called the IRA that they paid into, and it just happened to have the same initials as the IRA. But don't worry, the same people that used to eat McDonald's and the expats from Ireland used to pay quite well into the IRA funds anyway, and that's one of the biggest donators apart from Gaddafi. But I digress. Let's go back to this. So as you can see, all work stops here. They're not exactly going to get any money out of these fuckwits. There you go. Tel Aviv Steve there. Black man with a British Israeli flag. The true face of successful multiculturalism. I don't know if any of you know Steve from Speaker's Corner. He was in a leafy, I think it was a seaside or something like that. Anyway, he moved to London because it wasn't multicultural enough for him. So you get your wish, Steve. You couldn't get any more multicultural than London. Well, actually, white people are now becoming the not enough. So this was King's Cross. All right, let's see if we can actually hear anything. It doesn't really matter anyway. It's all a load of rabbling. Police and the government not stand up for us. That's true. So it isn't just London that is happening. I've heard it's happening all over the place. So that's not exactly going well. As you can see here, they're blatantly coming out and giving it to the police and throwing punches at them and running off into the distance. Now, London being one of the most camered cities in the world, I would imagine that at some point they could, should they want to, catch up with these people, find out where they went, and arrest them and charge them with battering the police. Will they? And there's a question, which leads on to the next thing. There will be a protest next Saturday on the basically 11th of the 11th of the 11th, Armistice Day. And this is the day that we usually send out people to place wreaths on the cenotaph and pay our respects in 2 minutes silence to the people that died in the First World War, the Second World War, and all the conflicts since. That's men and women, and also animals, by the way. There were a lot of animals that died defending their country, whether they knew it or not. That's what they were doing. Animals like mules, horses, dogs, etc. So, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. I had one. It was a different color poppy, basically, because, you know, a lot of loyal animals went out there, and a lot of them weren't brought back. They were slaughtered. But anyway, I go on. So it was after the war, sometime after, that they set up these memorials, because basically, whether you know it or not, Kitchener's campaign to get people to sign up worked incredibly well. And they ended up being people from the same area. So same town, same village, same city. And they ended up getting put into the PALS battalions. And what happened was, when they went over the top in places like the Somme, etc., they got wiped out. The Brits had bombed, continuously shelled, although a lot of our shells were duds. Continually shelled the German lines, thinking that by the time they'd finished, all the barbed wire would be gone, and all of the people that side couldn't have survived it, and it would be a walkover. And because these boys were conscripts and they thought that they've never actually seen war before, they actually decided that it would probably be better, also the fact that there wouldn't be any resistance, to get them to walk slowly towards the enemy, because the enemy just didn't have one line. It was the first line, the second line, the third line. And they actioned how this was going to happen. Turned out that the Germans were sat 40 feet or more in dugouts below ground level. And although the shelling had almost turned them mad, and sort of they didn't get any food and stuff like that, the moment that the guns fell silent, they'd been practicing for this. They set up the machine guns and basically just made mincemeat out of our boys, the Canadians, and everybody else who was part of our war machine. Because the Germans had parts of France, and what was the next place that they had? Anyway, this they dug in, and it was one of the most bloody conflicts that there were, and entire male populations of a certain age in parts of Britain were wiped out to the guns of the Germans. And the Germans always said that basically these British Tommies are lions. They also said they were lions led by, I don't know what they said, idiots, but whatever. I digress. And we sound like we got somebody calling, but why can't we hear them? Hello? Yet again, we have tech problems. This is absolutely fucking spanking. Do you know what? You can set up as much as you like, and it makes no fucking odds. Bear with a second. Let's try again. Hello, mate. Hang on, wait up a second. I'm just going to try and sort this shit out, because it's always the first phone call that gets it. No worries, mate. Just bear with a sec, and we should be with you in a minute. Right. No, hang on. I know what I've done here. Just bear with a sec. I know what I'm doing. He says, I've connected to the wrong fucking roadcaster. Here we go. Let's try this one. See if we get anywhere. Right. I don't know if anybody can hear anyway. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, Si.
Right, you're in. You're on. That's it. Well, amazing.
Awesome, mate.
Fucking hell. I'll tell you what, right? Mate. It gave me the chance to connect to not just this roadcaster, but the other one. I thought, yeah, we'll try that. And then nothing. It's just the sort of night I'm having, mate. Anyway, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate.
So, yeah, what's on your mind?
Just got back from the pub, and saw you doing stream for a call in.
yeah. Unfortunately, I've been nowhere near the pub for the last sort of 6 days. So,
mate, you poor bugger.
To be honest, I didn't want to. I didn't fancy a drink yesterday. I don't fancy a drink today. I've got plenty of alcohol over there. Just didn't fancy it. But it's one of those things that it does give you a little bit of a, get on and do it, have the laugh and all the rest of it. And when you haven't had it, it takes a little bit more to get going. However, we'll see how it goes, basically. So other than the pub, what part of the country are you in? Don't go too much into detail.
So I live in Wimbledon in London.
I know that place. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's what I want to talk to you about, because you see, I work in the city.
Yep.
And I spend quite a lot of time in central London, like Soho and the West End, etc. And I've actually seen up close the pro-Palestinian protests or riot, or whatever you want to call it.
Islam on tour.
Yeah. Or just like, honestly, mate, it's when you're actually in London, you're on the streets and you actually see it up close. I mean, I know people are talking about Palestine being occupied, but mate, you just walk around London when that's going on, and yeah, we're occupied.
I mean, the very fact that they get a call, they've had a call go out through the mosques, etc. You lot will show up, get out there, get into it, right? And also wind up the natives. That being us. Get in their face and show that, and the moment they do anything, give it to them. That's what they've been told.
Yeah. Well, it's evidence. I mean, the thing is, when you just see these protests up close, unedited, right? It's so much more than just solidarity with Palestine or about any form of justice or about the civilians.
It's a show of strength.
It really looks like a show of kind of dominance.
Yep.
And a kind of,
it's exactly what it
basically,
is. Basically, they want to show us that they're harder and stronger than us, and we own you.
Well, are they wrong?
At the moment, yes, they are wrong. But problem is, we know, right? And I'm going next week, by the way. If any of you know about this, I was going to announce it tomorrow because I've got hopefully Paz coming on tomorrow. We're going to talk about it. However,
brilliant.
There's going to be a load of us got there, and we're walking into a trap. Make no bones about this, right? But how many times do you say, I'm not going to do it because it's a trap? And how many times you go out there and say, fuck it, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're going to go out there, behave ourselves. But the moment that somebody attacks you, you defend yourself. And they will do this, right? Now, Islam is trying to push us. The media will then take pictures of what they call the far right, which is us lot, allegedly, right?
Oh, man.
And they'll take all these pictures of us doing whatever it is that we have to do to protect ourselves. And the computer's just crashed. 1 minute, fucking thing.
Yeah.
Bear with.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah, the far right boogeyman. You hear about it a lot, but you never seem to see it.
Yeah, just bear with, because I'm going to have to put you on the other one a minute.
That's all right, mate.
Works. And that. Right, hopefully I can you hear me on the roadcaster?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Right, cool. Well, we're getting somewhere. Right, let's see if the comments can see us. I knew this was going to happen. Right, so the media can't see me. Right, it's a bit weird because I'm going to get one ear.
If that helps. Yeah.
Okay, I'm muted. That's what that was. Right, tell me if you can hear me a second. This is going to happen all night, by the way. This is not the computer anymore. This is something much more nefarious. One.
I bet it's like the government trying to disturb the stream,
Well, it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's a few other things I need to tell you about these protests. Yeah.
Cool. Lovely. Right, bear with a second, because what we're going to try and do, sound back. Right. This is just, I tell you what, it's just sometimes. Right, how does the caller sound to everybody? Let me know in the stream. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Honestly, I just don't get it.
Hello, everyone in the stream, by the way. If you can hear me.
Yeah, volume too loud. Okay, we can turn that down. I can't fucking win with this. I tell you what, I should have just stayed fucking pissed. It'd have been easier. Really would have done. Anyway, yeah, everything at the moment doesn't matter what, because I've got two different systems here, and you can set it up and it's great, and then it goes wrong. All right, there we go. Let's see if we can go back to the other one a second and restore. I wonder if the left get this. Oh, fuck me, not again. Right, hang on a minute. I tell you what, talk about frustrated. I've got to restart that computer in a minute, but I'll carry on as we are. So, you're living in London, you're seeing this show of dominance. Do you reckon the average fucking lefty is seeing this?
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about, because there's something I noticed about these protests whenever I saw them. Okay, now for the most part, I'd say 80% of them are Muslim men of various backgrounds.
Yeah.
Right? But when you see these protests, you'll also see an alarming amount of young white women, white middle-class women, like university students, amongst them, with the odd, white soy boy. But there is actually quite a lot of young middle-class white people, like university students, in amongst them, which really shocked me. I mean, we're talking about utter, ultra privileged white women, never had a hard day's work in their life, and they're just protesting with the most primitive, misogynist, ideology there is, and it's just alarming. I mean, does it surprise you to hear about that?
Not really. Have you seen? Yeah. I had some footage actually. It's got a trans person marching with.
Oh yeah, Queers for Palestine. Yeah.
Fuck me.
Talk about irony, mate.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, I'll be the first person that gets a flying lesson, but I have heard that in certain Arab countries, because it's obviously haram to be gay and it's punishable by death, that the first thing they do is they tell them, like, if you're trans, we can say you're a woman, all good. So they just say that these little boys or young men are trans, and then they can carry on about their day. I've seen footage of it, right, and it's got this made up pretty boy young Arab sat on the lap of some festering old git who's looked very happy with himself because he's going to be doing sexy goat time with this. Simon, turn your mic down some. Right. Is that any better? I give up. I really do. So, yeah. I'm going to see if I can start this off again. But, yeah, I mean, to be honest, Islam is a law unto itself, isn't it? And it does, it does what it wants, when it wants. And also, its entire purpose is to take over the world. Now, I did a video in the week, which was, I had footage, and they say that what they want to do is take back in a process a lot of the lands that the Arabs, Muslims, the Ottomans lost in the lead up to the First World War and the First World War. Because basically the First World War finished off the Ottoman Empire, and then we divvied up the land between us. And it was around the time of, during that time and leading up to, I believe, the Second World War, that we started promising the Jews their own homeland, because it was, I think it was between the First and Second World War, maybe even before the First World War, that Jews were feeling persecuted throughout Europe and wanted to start heading back to somewhere like Middle East, where they felt they would be safer. And then obviously we get the Holocaust thing, right? Which now, what I want to know is, why is it that both Islam and Judaism manage to fall out with their hosts wherever they go? It's a question. It's a simple question, really, because the Jews felt that they've been picked on all the way around the world, right? That nobody understands them, that they've been victimized for their faith and stuff like that. I never saw a fucking Hindu getting this sort of shit, right?
No, exactly.
Buddhists don't really get that. Okay.
Notice there's no Hinduophobia or Buddhist phobia.
Mormon
or
phobia.
Sikhophobia. Yeah.
Jehovah's Witness phobia.
Yeah.
Plymouth Brethren phobia. We could go on. But
yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you were... Sorry, yeah, go on.
No, carry on. No.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, when you think about multiculturalism and diversity, right, I actually think if Islam wasn't a part of the equation, it probably could work. It just, all the issues really seem to be surrounding Islam.
Well,
really.
I don't know if you remember, I think you sound quite a bit younger than me, you bastard. But
I'm 31.
Git. Absolute git. If you have a look at places like, what was it before they broke it up? Tito ran it back in the early 80s. Yugoslavia, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now,
yeah.
You had a lot of people living alongside each other, Christians, Muslims, Croats, so many other different versions of different religions and stuff, all living alongside each other. And he'd managed to get them to live quite happily. You have to ask, how is it that he managed it under a communism stroke sort of, well, it was a socialism, because communism, they run under socialism, don't they? Right? It's very confusing. But socialism with a hint of capitalism in it, and it was working. Nobody was massively rich, but it was working. Everybody got a holiday, etc., etc. And it turns out that globalism took one look at that and went, oh, no, we can't have this, because this looks, this is starting to look appealing to people. What we need to do is stop this, because otherwise we won't be able to rinse people out for their wages, the taxes, keep them as debt slaves, dangle the carrot of, if you do well in life, you'll have a house, 2 cars for you and the wife, right?
Oh, heaven forbid, right?
Yeah. You're going to have all this stuff. Because remember at school, right? And somebody actually said to me, they said, a school, doesn't it look a lot like an office? I was like, I suppose it does. But they were saying that with schools, it was one of those things that you get told how to be, not how to think, in so much as they don't. Because in the old days, before obviously the Rockefeller Foundation started with its bullshit in America, which ended up going all the way through Europe and everywhere around the world, they modeled this, because globalism went, actually, what he's done really well, because he was a money-grabbing, people life-ruining, fucking earth-wrecking shithouse, right? And with his oil companies, that he was raping the earth, raping people's resources, using people, and he thought to himself, firstly, I've now got to do a complete, what do they call it? We need, is it like spin doctors? People that make me look good. And we got to do that. And I've got to do some philanthropy. But I've also got to work out how we're going to get these people to stop thinking the way they do. Because schools at that time were making people actually think for themselves. They were teaching people to be writers. People who they wanted to be scientists, they wanted to be lawyers, solicitors, politicians. They wanted them to, these sort of people, to actually be able to critically think, look at stuff for themselves, get the facts in by themselves, and work out what was right and what was wrong. Well, that's not very good.
We can't have that now, can we? Because when you look at modern leftism, all it takes is a bit of a critical thinking, and then everything falls apart. So we can't have that. Not
at all. Right, 1 minute. I'm going to pull me down there, right, and turn that. No, right, I'll be all right. But basically, let's turn that down again, and that should help. What it is, I've got that one set up, and in a minute I will go over between calls. But while we're on the phone together, I'll keep this going. But what they did, they wanted people to be dutiful blue-collar workers. They wanted to dumb us down, right, and they wanted us to have just enough intelligence to do a blue-collar job, but not enough intelligence to question or even get a grip on or understand politics. Now, growing up, we're always taught that politicians is a very technical and difficult job, and it's not for the average person. And I wouldn't try and work it out. Seriously, that was how it was. And we were taught at school that to be successful, to be a good man, and this is what my dad taught me as well, because he'd been indoctrinated. To be a good man, you need to be able to provide for your family, right? True. You need to make sure that they're comfortable. So therefore, you need to work hard at school, get all the exams you can, get a good job, work your way up in that job so that you can afford the nice house for the wife and the kids. So you can afford to put a nice car in front of them so they didn't have to walk everywhere. So you could get them fed and all the rest of it. And I was like, okay, but that's not the mark of a good man. The mark of a good man, right, is to be able to show his kids that they're loved, ultimately, that to give his missus love and comfort and support. And it doesn't matter whether you're in a big house or a small house. If you've got love between you and you stand together and you understand the difference between right and wrong and you stand up for what's right, that's what makes a man. Not what you've earned and what you've got on the drive and what sort of house you live in. He never got the hang of that one. And he said to me, he said, he used two of my uncles, right, as an example. He said, if you don't sort your life out, you're going to grow up to be like uncle this or uncle that. And I can't say the name in case they end up seeing this, right? And I was like, but what would be so bad about that? And these were people that had basic jobs, right? They didn't have huge houses or fuck all, right? Anyway, long story short, move forward 20, 30 years. They've plodded on. Their kids love them. They love their kids. They've got a great family life. They had some of the loveliest parties at their houses and they were great hosts. And through hard work and slow process, right, they ended up building up. But they had, in the end, a nice house, which they'd never expected. But things came up along the way. But it wasn't the important thing. But the bond they had with their daughters, the bond they had with their friends, the happiness and the people that knew them as lovely people, right? They had all of this. In the meantime, my other uncle, the same as well. And I'd always thought I'd like to be like them because they're nice, they're happy people, right? Anyway, turns out, unfortunately, my old man had taken advice going through life. He'd worked his ass off, but he lost the first business. So then he got himself up off the ground again, went on, lost the second business and the third business and the house. Because he took advice from bank managers and he took advice from what he saw on TV. And all of these crashes were engineered, right?
Yeah.
And he was too naive to know anything about this. He believed the BBC. He believed police. He believed doctors.
Never trust a banker.
Well, it was a lot later on in life that he said, he spoke to my other uncle, who, funnily enough, was a bank manager. He was all right, strangely enough. When I say all right, did all right. But it's funny because things actually bite you in the ass again because he ended up... probably shouldn't go into these details, but yeah, he ended up marrying a woman who wasn't very nice, and at the end of the day, he's now on his own. However, go back, he actually explained to my dad, he said, the first thing we're taught in the bank is get them in debt and keep them there. I couldn't fucking believe it. And I'm like, wow, that's just some bizarre shit. Why would you want to do that? But anyway, and this is the thing. They were taught, the system was taught, if they got us in debt, that we would work harder, that we would have to work harder, we'd have to work more hours. And worse still, because we're now in debt and we're worried about losing the house, the car, whatever, that we will actually work for less money and more hours. And then what they did was they flooded the country full of immigrant workers who would work for a lot less because it's much, much more than what they've ever had.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win again. So it is what it is.
Bastard.
Yeah. It's just,
pardon my French.
No, it's just the system was geared up against every one of us. Now, I used to hear my dad, right, because he was conservative, saying that all these people that believe that they should take from the rich, he says that's socialism. That's idle bastards. But now when you look at it, don't look at socialism, but when you look at the scale, right, and I don't know if you can see me here, there's a scale that does this, and then it goes up rapidly. Now, we're here, and literally, if you imagine one of these graphs, it goes up 2 mil, and that's Elon Musk. That's where he is. This is about the world's wealth. And right at the top of the tree would be the Rothschilds at 500 trillion. That is an unfathomable amount of money. That's more money than some countries have, right? That's their money. And they also own numerous banks. So they've also, what they do is they hide behind other fronts. So you would look at JP Morgan. Have you heard of that name?
Pardon, sorry?
JP Morgan. Have you ever heard of that bank?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, JP Morgan was considered to be one of the richest men in America, right, because of his bank. Turns out that he only had a quarter share in it. The Rothschilds owned the rest. But it's things like this. They hide behind BlackRock and other things like that. Now, have you heard about how the credit scoring system goes for companies?
That would be no, actually.
Right, okay. So to the people that write what a company's worth and what, if it's a sound financial thing, and there's a lot more to it than that. I'm being very basic. But the people that write this are the people that then dictate to these companies that you're not hitting your woke targets. You're not pushing the boundaries of what we want you to do. And what they do is they drive people like M&S to make an advert like they did. They drive Bud Light to do what they've done. They drive others to do some of the most degenerate and woke shit, because if they don't...
You mean they make them go bankrupt?
Well, no, what they would do...
To Bud Light.
Well, this is the thing, right? They use these companies who have a massive influence to push a political agenda. And if you look at Netflix, it was a great example. Netflix... Cuties and stuff like that was just the job. And Netflix had to decide whether they ended up having their credit rating go through the floor by disobeying them, right? Or carry on doing what they were told and lose all their customers. So it was either shoot yourself in the head or let them shoot yourself in the head. But what they actually, I was told, went with was defying this credit rating thing and starting to go with more realistic and more what people actually wanted, which is why you'll see things like the BBC being so utterly shit that people are pulling away from it. And many other companies like that, Haagen-Dazs and all these other things, they are told that if you don't put out this degenerate shit, we'll fuck you. And that's that. They've literally got a gun to their head. That's
really? I never saw it that way. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But I didn't know that really.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? So when you actually understand that side of things, and it's the banking system that's doing it, and who owns the banks, well, there's no fucking clue there in it. Now, also, the same people that control that sort of stuff also have a massive share in the media. So you might have noticed that all of these anchors say the same thing at the same time. And what they do is they've done a montage of it where you've got hundreds of people saying the same words exactly at the same pace because they script it. And what they've managed to do is change people's perception of reality. Now, there was a CEO in Ireland for Google, YouTube, and she said it's our job to change people's perception of reality. No, it's not.
You mean to make people ignore reality?
To change people's perception is so much as your eyes tell you one thing, but we've told you different, and you will follow us because if you don't, you'll be ridiculed, you'll lose your job, you will be bullied, you'll have all this other pressure, right, where the system will come to bear and the weak fools, the useless idiots or useful idiots will do our work for us. So, like the hard left, right? The hard left have got themselves into, while we were out in the piss in the 90s, fucking everything and fighting everything, these were the ones that were getting into jobs and working their way up into positions. Now, along with
poisoning the water hole, basically.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yeah. And then you've got common purpose, which was something alongside it. So if you imagine you've got all these different companies and you've got, common purpose is much like the Masons. You put a Mason into a job.
Inclusion and all that shit.
They push that, but what they also want to do is, the theory that we had democracy at one point, right, which is quite an illusion. But the theory is this, is that common purpose was the thing that was put into places, and a manager would get a job, and then what would happen when another position would come up, they would get another person from common purpose in there, and then another, and another, and another. So the civil service, the police force, the army, all the other services that you see, all right? And what happens is then what they can do is, without permission and not through democratic means, change things. They're not allowed to, they've not been told to, but so many of them get in there that they start to do their own agenda. Now, some of you may have noticed that the, what they call it, I've just said it a minute ago, the civil service have stopped obeying what the politicians have said.
They practically run the country.
Common purpose.
Yeah.
They have an agenda. The agenda is to break the society, because what they want to do is they want to change it into a socialist country, right? They've got their ideas, but you have to collapse the country. So what you've got to do is you've got to bring in lots of people that will help destroy the fabric of our society. Well, you're seeing that on the streets at the moment, right?
Yeah,
you've got to,
this country's obsession with Muslims.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't just that, right? If you went back to probably before you were born, we were signing declarations that because, say, for instance, the Middle East has all this oil that we need, right? Now, we had to secure that we would get the oil for the right price, and we had to secure that these people would be on board for a significant amount of time. Where the idea was we had to sign a declaration that meant we put Islam before our own, that we would never paint Islam in a bad light, like media-wise or otherwise, and we would give Islam a pass, right? So you got the Barcelona Declaration, and I think it's Marrakesh, I can't remember now, but all of these things were put into place in the 90s and stuff, and going forward from there to line the path of what you see now, the smooth facilitation. And then what you do is you put into place NGOs who are funded by globalism, and they're all over through Europe, right back to where these people come, and they sit them down and they school them, the intelligent ones, and they say, this is how you get from point A to point B. Once you've got there, one of our NGOs will meet you there. They'll brief you. We'll take, or you will lose all your details. We'll give you some more. There'll be a card. You'll have clothing. You'll have a phone, and you make your way onto the next port. That's how it works, right? And you'll notice that they never have ID, but they have a perfect haircut. They have money in their pocket. They have a phone.
They're well dressed.
Fighting age men. Now, the question is this. If we weren't trying to promote Islam, right, and it generally was about getting them away from a war-torn area, okay, and war, etc., apart from the fact the moment they reach the first safe country, that's it, it's game over, that's where they've got to stay, we'd be saving their women, wouldn't we, and their kids, and their nans, and their granddads, and everybody else, because surely all these people are just as susceptible to war as a fighting age bloke who's fit as a butcher's dog and coming over to take over. So they bring all of these fighting age men in, and they won't let you talk about the obvious fact is, so you're not immune from war and you have to flee because you're not safe. But your wife's safe. Your woman's safe. Your mum's safe. Your dad, right, you're safe. Your kids are safe. They're all safe, are they? And when you start talking about that, the first thing they'll do is call you fucking racist. But this has been planned from, I would say, at least late 80s, early 90s. Now, the war on terror, you remember that, don't you?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
The war on terror was planned long before anything ever hit the Twin Towers. There was a colonel who came out and he said he went to a table within the Pentagon. He said seen these countries. And they were
the perfect excuse.
There were 10 countries. And he said, well, what the fuck's that? He says, those are the countries we're going to invade and change because of the war on terror. He said, well, what terror? He said, well, we haven't made that part yet, but we will invent the war on terror. Don't worry. Now, I suppose when you've got a building that's a massive icon, two buildings that are a massive icon that are no longer profitable, they're full of asbestos, and to clean them out is going to cost more than the buildings are ever worth. They're too hot in the summer, they're too cold in the winter, and a lot of people aren't staying in them. And then you get one of the biggest Jewish moguls, I should say, within America, who flips properties and makes money all the time, buys them and reinsures them for 3 times more than they were ever worth, and both for terrorist damage and all the rest of it, acts of God, so on and so forth. And then shortly after that, they get hit and they come down and the Americans go fucking ballistic, and that was their go-to call for, let the military go and do what they want. So you've got one of the biggest terrorist dynasties that there has ever been, which was the Bush family. Dad had had his first Gulf War. The son wanted his second, and he got it. And they went through all these different countries. They didn't do all 10, but they changed the banking system. They put private banking into all these countries that didn't already have it. I won't mention the name, but you can work it out for yourself. And what they did was they stripped the gold out of these countries. They got rid of Saddam Hussein, who was literally holding down the lunatics. They got rid of Gaddafi, who was also doing the same thing. Both of these wanted to trade in something else but the petrodollar. They wanted to trade in the gold dinar and the euro. And then after that, that basically made sure that the American economy wasn't worse affected, but the people also that benefit from it, because the Federal Reserve is not actually owned by the state. It's actually still a private bank, but nobody really talks about that. And there's no gold in it anymore, incidentally. So, we raped and pillaged all these countries, bombed the living fuck out of it, literally genocided a shitload of places, and we turned the place into it's just a fucking unfeasibly horrible place. So now all these people who are on tour are coming our way hate us. It's the
Yeah.
perfect fucking storm, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, for some people, but not us.
Well,
But that's one thing that I don't understand. I mean, I know that obviously the population in this country has gone through lots of indoctrination, and misinformation in the news, and like what I pointed out earlier about all these young people being gun ho for, mass Islamic immigration. I mean, can't they realise that, the open borders crowd, that their futures will ultimately be screwed by their own policies? Doesn't it tweak to them?
right.
I mean,
You've got, or they are, surrounded by people who tell them how great they are. If you look at a pop star, right,
yeah,
that's surrounded by nothing but yes men, right, he ends up believing all the hype. Now, if you imagine a narcissist sociopath who's been elevated to a position such as Boris Johnson, or Theresa May, or go back a bit further, the pig fucker. Tony Blair, there's another one. I mean, the money that all of these people have made out of selling their soul. After Tony Blair sold had houses, his missus was a barrister. They weren't skint to begin with. But I think they made at least, I would say, 130 million to date that I know of, from their war on weapons of mass destruction, which obviously were never found, but nobody has ever bothered. And this is the problem with not just Britain, but humans these days. We've got so used to our politicians shitting on us that we expect it. So when they go on, when they do this, we don't expect anything different. And I think it was the 50s was probably the last time we had semi-honourable politicians that would resign after they fucked up. But Tony Blair is now peace envoy to the Middle East. It was the last thing he was doing, or something like that.
Talk about irony.
You couldn't. Him being a peace envoy to the Middle East is like a parachute that opens on impact. It's pointless. But he is doing just what his globalist friends want him to do. He sold his soul years ago. Now, Tony Blair actually had a different name when he went cottaging in some of the toilets and got caught out. He is a sex pest, a fucking wrong un, right?
Yeah, I heard about that. I read about that, yeah.
But was he fucking polished? And after John Major, now I don't know if you'd ever heard of John Major.
Oh, yes, I have, yeah.
This guy's spitting image painted him grey, right? And he'd be sitting there, more peas, Norma. He was so fucking boring. But he was the one. I remember, he was the one that stitched Thatcher up and told her to get onto this this thing where we were level pegging with the Germans, right? Which would look after the pound and our interests, and people will invest more, right? Because he's a Europhile. Anyway, this bit us in the ass, fucked up, right? And that's where George Soros hit us for about 2 billion, I think it was. And it was called Black Wednesday. And this was all to do with John Major's shit idea, bad advice from the banking, and the Germans fucking us in the ass. And at the same time the Germans were trying to fuck us in the ass, they were doing the Italians, I think the Spanish, and possibly, I can't remember who else. But this was the Germans again, right? And they wanted us to stay in fucking the Europe thingy, Bob, the financial thing. We fucked it off out of it. But it was always a bad idea. Now, Thatcher saw the problem with this, and very shortly she was ousted by the rest of the cabinet, who were all traitors. And then he got in and literally started selling everything out to the European. And he is still pro-European. Now,
he's a major Europhile.
Major? Get in. Like it. But yeah, he is an absolute fucking sausage, right? And he's still pushing it. And so is Blair. Now, Blair was one of the most conservative Labour people going. But I long went past, because when I started looking, why is it that a person from one side of the house can walk across to the other and join them? I would have thought that if you're a politician who's a conservative, you wouldn't be a Labour supporter, right? But I've started to work out that these people are bred for a position, and whatever position comes up is what they go for. Because Tony Blair, he was just serving his masters. He wasn't serving the country, and it didn't matter whether he was Labour or fucking conservative or whatever. And I don't believe that any of the people within that house, or at least 99% of them, are true and honest and legit. Every one of them has dirty dealings held over them by the people that control them, and they're also chucked huge amounts of money. And they're also told that if you carry on and be a good little cunt, We'll make sure you got so many side hustles that you will get filthy rich. Or you take, for instance, the people like, what's his name? That grey fucking tramp for Labour that didn't quite get any. Corbin.
Corbin, yeah.
Corbin was a fucking a pro IRA supporter, right? And he's pro Hamas, right?
Yeah.
Now he's a socialist, right?
Yeah.
But he's still worth a few million. Now how can that be true socialism?
No, mate, he grew up in a frigging manor house.
Yeah, with his brother.
He's a proper privileged rich boy.
Have you met Piers Corbin? He's the one that's out at the moment protesting McDonald's on his own in Swindon, right?
No.
But yeah, he's a bit bonkers. I could play that in a minute because I've queued that up. But
what is it with rich people and turning to socialism and communism?
They think it makes them look good.
Ugh.
Right. Here's the thing: socialism's got to be paid for by somebody, right?
Yeah.
And socialism's great until it runs out of money. Now, if you look at any country under socialism, you usually find out that the people haven't enjoyed the same joy that we have up until now, anyway. And if you go to Venezuela, you'll find out that the people who are socialist are about significantly a stone lighter than their neighbours who aren't.
Yeah.
I mean, when you've actually got to eat the flamingos and then you run out of them and you've got to eat dogs, so you swap your dog to the neighbour so that the neighbour, because you don't really want to kill your own dog, do you? And they use it for meat.
Well, no.
It's kind of when you think socialism might not have worked, but hey, we didn't have the right socialism. And that's always the bullshit we get.
Yeah, I know. No, it hasn't been tried yet and all that shit. Yeah.
But, I mean, to be honest, Pierce is nothing more than laughable. He has got some information that is true, but he is quite bonkers. But yeah, he's entertainment, but not to be taken too seriously. But his brother was quite a threat to us. And don't forget,
I'll take him over as communist brother any day.
Yeah, well, his brother was the one that, while he was in the position that he was, they did nothing about the little Antifa-like fucking thugs they had running around, threatening every fucker, showing up to places, battering people, and all the rest of it.
I've seen them up close, Si. I mean, if you just look at them, the way they cover their faces and how they chant, proper frigging brown shirts.
There was me and Base Welshman that taunted the shit out of him in London. Literally, I was mocking the cunts. I was like, come out of there and fucking do something. And even the police were with me laughing at the cunts. But a lot of them are romantic college student types that have never grown up, right? Or middle-class wankers that have never known what it's like to be homeless. But,
they've just never known any struggle or challenge or any responsibility in their lives.
Yeah, and they stand with their brothers. They say that sort of shit. And what's the other word they use?
Was it comrade?
Comrade, solidarity, and all of these other fucking cock-sucking, stupid fucking things. Balls my fucking piss.
I detest them, Si. I absolutely detest them.
But Antifa are paid for by Labour, says... I can't see very well from here because it is really small print. I know that they've got hope not hate, which is hate not hope, right? And if anybody's,
I know.
And if you're listening, hope not hate, I'd still like to complain. I've been as big a far right wanker as I possibly could be in your eyes, and you've still not have put me on your list. What have I got to do? Hey, I've tried. Fuck me, I've tried. There have been a lot lesser fucking channels that have done a lot less that have got onto it. What have I got to do? Just so you know. There you go. I like it. Because the moment you tell them to put you on your list, you'll never get on the fucker. And that's what I keep doing every year. Get me on your list. They won't do it.
Well played, Si. Must say.
Well, it's not hard to play a fucking fool, is it, really? You know what I mean? And most of those fucking idiots are. But now here's the thing. If they put me on the list, right, which is what they'd like to do, I win. And if they don't put me on the list, I win. It's kind of nice to be in that situation.
Win-win situation, Si.
It's the only fucking one I've been in for a while. But I was thinking about this the other day. Soros. Everybody blames Soros for funding stuff. It's so much more than that.
Oh, I know. It's more than 1 billionaire.
They use his name. Let me check if I've got any coffee left because I'm dry as Gandhi's flip-flop. Maybe not. 1 second. Something's going wrong here. Something's connecting and not connecting. Back in the 80s and the 70s, there was this terrorist called Carlos Ajacal. Now, he was fucking useless as a terrorist. But when the CIA were doing stuff around the world and when other places, probably like Israel, when they were doing their ops, and other ones like that, when they were doing stuff and they didn't want to take any sort of recognition for it, they just blamed Carlos the Jackal, and he was happy to take it because he was useless as a terrorist. But because he took that rap that he bombed this place and bombed that station and bombed these airplanes, even though he didn't, that more work came his way, and he loved it right up until the point he got nicked. Anyway, we blame Soros. What the fuck is this thing? Yeah, that's what it is. The phone's going mental. We blame Soros for stuff.
I can hear you again now. Sorry, you went out for a minute then.
Yeah, we blame Soros for all sorts of stuff, but it isn't him. There might be parts that are him, but generally speaking, there's a lot more people that fund what's going on at the moment because it suits a purpose.
Yeah.
Look, Derek, piss bottle. It's not a piss bottle. It's a gin bottle. Although it does look like piss in there, doesn't it? What do they call it? Trucker's Tizer or fucking Scania Scotch, but it isn't. There you go. Anyway, mate, I've probably taken enough of your time up and you're paying for this phone bill.
I'm gonna head off in a minute. Just one other thing I just want to point out from what I saw at those. Actually, no. Just one more question. Actually, next Saturday, where the March of Palestine is going to disrupt the memorial ceremony. Yes. Do you think that could be like, should we say, a breaking moment? Do you think that could be a moment that actually wakes more people up? If it gets really bad, it's gonna take a lot because most people just don't want to know. I mean, I'm going to go up there, and a few others are going to go up there, and a load of football firms are going to go up there. Yeah. And what's going to happen is we'll stand around and try and protect the parade as it is. These people will come in, try and act a show of whatever, and it will go bad. And the cameras will be on us, and they'll make us out to be the thugs, the nasty, the far right. And then what they'll do about it is they'll bring in new laws to stop people doing what we're doing. And that was always the plan, right? But what do? Do you let Islam have a free pass forever and just walk straight into your country and take over? Or do you at least put up some sort of a fight? Well, the thing is, we can protect it. We just need to be tactical about how we do it.
Well, they're going to they've been instructed to make sure violence starts. That's Islam. No ifs, no buts. So,
and when the camera's captured all, the media's going to kind of edit it and dock it so it looks like we're the ones causing the trouble. Yeah,
exactly that. But I have to go, and we'll have to accept that that's going to be the case because I've had a gutsful.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck them.
I mean, you've just got to say that's it and put your foot down, haven't you?
You draw a line in the sand. We'll probably end up people will end up getting arrested, even if they do nothing, and then they'll get like an ASBO or whatever it is, where you're told you can't go into London. Yeah. And what they'll do is they'll just keep going through people who defend our rights, and they'll just keep banning them from London. Give them an 18-month ban or a 2-year ban, but they won't do this to Islam because Islam gets the pass. And
it does,
And
go on. Yeah, and don't expect the police to do anything, because this is another thing I've seen, right, while observing these marches. You do see police walking alongside them, but mate, I swear to God, the majority of the police officers, most of them are women, and they're usually about 5'3", 5'5", and some of them are actually a little bit obese. And I'm thinking, let's say violence did break out, what the hell would they be able to do?
Nothing, because the last time we were there against them and they were all fucking armoured up and all the rest of it, they couldn't do anything to us.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I mean, the police officers I see in the street, I mean, I'm 5'8". I'm not tall, right? But I tower over most of them. I'm just,
yeah, it's
policing in this country, mate.
In the old days, riot police were the ones that went up against the miners. They were the ones that went up against the Battle of the Beanfield, when the people who lived in vans and fucking trucks and all that were on tour, they battered them lot as well. Nowadays, you just don't have that level. There are some in London, and I can't remember what they're called, and somebody earlier will probably help me, and they're in dark blue uniforms, and they look like fucking stormtroopers, and they'll go in and batter fuck at you. But there lots.
They're going to be the police officer. They're going to be sent out for the likes of you and me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, while Islam gets fucking gently, we'll get fucking ironed out.
Yeah, don't you notice when it comes to Islam, hate speech laws, be kind, hope not hate, all that goes out of the window when it comes to Islam
TSG.
and Muslims. Yeah, I know. Happy days, eh, Si?
Something to look forward to next week. Broken Skull. Hey!
It's going to be interesting. Anyway, mate, I'm going to let you go now. I'll let somebody else call in.
All right,
Take
buddy.
care,
And I'll
Si.
go switch
Goodbye,
over to that side in a minute, but cheers for being patient anyway.
No problem. Goodbye, everyone in the chat. Look after yourselves.
All right, mate. I'll see you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Take
Bye.
care, mate. Bye. Right. What's happening here? I can't fucking hear it. Oh, yes, I can. Turn it up like that. Right. That was a very good call, by the way. That should be loud enough. Can we all hear me all right? Hopefully you can. Right. Hang on a second. I've got to come out of there and go to there. And hopefully in a second you'll connect. Hello. Right, okay, bear with me a second. This fucking computer. Right, let's try again. Rodecaster 2. See if it connects. Just bear with. Come on, you fucking computer. I fucking hate this computer. Just bear with me 2 seconds, mate, because nobody's going to hear you otherwise. System, Bluetooth. All right. It's for audio devices. Try again. Right. Hopefully I should be able to hear you now. Hello? Oh, that's just wonderful. I think I've lost the caller. Hello, caller. Can you hear me? All right. I think I'm going to have to come out of that. I'm going to have this all fucking night with this. I don't know why I spent any fucking money on this fucking phone. Bear with. Mate, 2 secs. It's this fucking phone and this computer. Right, I should.
Hard time.
Yes, right, you're connected. There you go. Fucking hell. Do you know what? I need some fucking. What I need is a 19-year-old bloke on here that's absolutely shit hot. Go through the entire computer, rip out the shit, put the right stuff up. And it probably actually, it's one of those things that I think I'm going to have to do podcasts where the fucking thing won't get taken down. Anyway, what was it you wanted to talk about, buddy?
I was just going to touch on something your last caller was talking about, the police here.
Okay.
And what like, really, the cops you got here are not too bad, dude. They're pretty freaking good. Got to tell you. But, I mean, they are intrusive in their way, but they are pretty good. They're like, I just watched this audit archive. It's called, what's it called here now? Power tripping cop pulls gun on the wrong person. Then this happens, right? So an audit archive. And dude, man, it made me cry. America's gone, dude. It's freak show gone.
Well, you haven't exactly got a great administration there, have you? We got Biden running the thing. Well, he's not running anything, is he? But
it's really got nothing to do with Biden. He's a puppet.
Yeah. All right. The system behind Biden is extremely fascist, left wing. Well, no, I don't know what it is now. It's just anti-American in every fucking form.
Pretty freaking evil, I gotta tell you, man. It's evil. It's dark as going to be.
When you look at, you hear about what they do behind closed doors, you got to worry. You got to think to yourself, these people are in charge, and they're fucking. I mean, they pray for murder.
Thing here. The same thing here. That the people in the high powers, they don't want to lose their power, do they? They're going to do everything they can possibly do.
The war machine
on the people,
the military-industrial complex, the banking, the rest of it. It's all led by the same.
Don't get me started on the banking. If you want to know about banking, listen to Max Geyser. Now that
The
guy,
Kaiser
he
report.
knows what's going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Did you ever see the Kaiser report when he was interviewed for the Four Horsemen documentary? And he goes through just how poisonous the banking system is and what it's up to.
Yeah, I don't know. Wasn't Alex Jones had something to do that with that, didn't he?
He might have been
Pretty sure he did.
He might have been on it. But there was a load of them. Do you know, there's this Indian guy, this frail old guy, who goes, "There's enough in the world for everybody's need, just not for everybody's greed." And you were like, "Yeah, he's got a fucking point."
Hey, and it almost sounds like Klaus Schwab, doesn't it?
Well, Klaus Schwab is, you'll have nothing and you'll be happy. Well, actually, just scratch the be happy. That doesn't really matter. Hey,
have you seen that new Alex Jones song that he's got going out there with Klaus Schwab?
No.
His 100 favorite Christmas hits.
Go on. I'd love to see it, because that Klaus Schwab
you can easily get it. You just got to go online and get it, man. It's funny as hell.
So you're based in the UK at the moment, I'm guessing.
Well, I guess I'm based here. I mean, I don't have any rights. I don't have a right to family. I don't, that kind of stuff. I mean, I went legal as a child over there, not to America, but to Canada.
Right. So what do you think Canada is in comparison to the UK? Is it much worse for the people, or is it about the same?
I'd say it's probably way worse.
Yeah, you do have Trudeau.
Way worse.
In there,
way worse.
And he
because you got see, I'm in the UK right now. Yeah, like you say, yep. I got deported to here, but I went there as a child.
Okay.
See, now I look at it this way, right? Now, if you go as a child legally,
yeah,
the Britain should be saying that Canada saying, hey, how old was he when you got him? Oh, he was a minor. Oh, guess what, bud? He's got rights to family there, dude.
Well, you would have, wouldn't you?
We'll wash our hands of him. We'll wash our hands of him, right? That's what they should do. See, if you think about it this way, anybody, a legal, a grown adult can come across that British Channel, make a baby in Britain, and you cannot get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And they came into the country illegally.
Yeah, that's why they have a baby straight away, and that's why a lot of these migrants are trying to tap up white women.
No, but you see, I went there as a child in the 70s. Right.
So how long were you? When did you get deported back?
I don't have a right to family. See, now Britain should be saying, well, hey, is he not a product of your environment, or where he's from? Don't you think?
Well, the very fact that you were long enough to get the accent must mean that you, by my working, you're Canadian. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, all my
common fucking sense, isn't it?
Everything.
I mean, if we had somebody come from, say, for instance, I don't know, wherever in the world, came here as a young kid, stayed here for 30 fucking odd years, that's it. They're here. That's your lot.
Well, dude, I was fucking telling you. Well,
I mean, I can't imagine what you felt
trucks.
like.
I had me and my partner, my business partner. We had 3 trucks. Okay, I owned 33% of the business. So one of those trucks was mine.
Mm-hmm.
Belonged to me. I don't got my trucks, but forget the trucks. I can always work and get another one. I'm talking about my kids, my family. Everybody, my whole family.
That's what I'm still trying to work out. You had kids over there. How the fuck could they have got rid of you?
I got grandkids.
Yeah. So it's just
my two oldest boys are in the ground, dead, and I can't even go to their frickin' funeral, bud.
Yeah, that's fucked.
You tell me what. You tell me anywhere. And I watched this audit archive. And a power tripping cop pulls gun on the wrong person. Then this happens, and this is on Audit Archive. Dude, and this tells me right now that America is gone. And if America goes, we're all going.
Yep.
We're all done.
Society's going to collapse.
The whole thing.
A whole lot. Here, Europe, America, Canada.
I think Britain will fare pretty well though with the dollar, with the pound, with the sterling.
Well, don't forget all of these different countries banking. A lot of it comes out the center of that 1 mile in the center of London that the Queen can't go in without permission. That is the snake pit.
You were saying earlier, think about this, right? You were saying earlier that Soros, right? Now we'll get back to this global cabal. This Soros, right? He what do you call it? He bought the politicians on the low level in the cities and that, and the DAs. He's got them. They're all in his pocket, right? So they'll do what he wants. Now, if you get way more money, way more stuff back out of the system in the lower levels than you do up high.
But don't forget, it wasn't just him. Say, for instance, for every MP we've got here, there's usually 6 people who are paying them for all sorts of stuff. And I can't remember what the fucking name is. It'll come to me in a minute. They get lobbied. They get taken out. They get little bits here and bits there, and they get money in the background. Don't forget, they've all of them have got, or they get sorted. There's a bank, or there's a building within London, in the center of London. I've been past it, and all of them run their dodgy banking through there, and it goes offshore. And so when they actually get paid for doing something dodgy, it doesn't go into their bank where they pay tax on it. It goes somewhere else. But these people, it's like this. If you don't do as we tell you,
somewhere maybe.
Yeah, well, you got the Cayman, you got there's other places. But the thing is with them, if you don't do as we tell you, we'll make something up, we'll break you. We'll either put you in prison or we'll ruin your career. Or you could just do as we tell you and we'll make you rich. Well, for a fucking psycho and a narcissist, they'll do it.
Look at Soros, though. Think about this. Have you seen that interview that he had with NBC, I think it was?
Yeah, I sold out the Jews.
And he goes, that was happy making time when he was handing his fellow people into the Germans to be gassed.
Well, he said, if I didn't do it, somebody else, so I might as well have made money out of it.
Yeah, but he said it. Yeah, exactly. And he said at the end of it, it was happy making time.
Yeah, he made bank out of it. And he makes money.
True social psychopath.
Yeah, we'll never get after he went and fucked our economy. I think it was the leader of South Africa. It was the black guy at the time.
The pound was strong, man.
And he said to Soros, he said, how do I stop you doing something like that to my country? And then Soros advised him how you would look after your country. But he's an absolute piece of shit.
He's an evil individual.
From his conception until he dies. He is out for evil. But there's so many of them. I mean,
but where do you draw the line, right? That's what you were saying, I think, before earlier. Like, is it really him? Is he's a low-ranking? He's low fruit. He's not low fruit, but he's that Klaus Schwab type of guy.
He's a face that you can hate, and that's why they put him there, and he plays his part. But he's, as you say, he is very low level, incredibly low level.
All of this is talked about in the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of this. The powers upon you, principalities, and powers upon you that are purchased upon you, upon the people, right? You
look at after the Second World War when the real Nazis won and the other Nazis lost, all right? We had the Nuremberg trials, which was a show trial, basically. And the evidence was admitted when it backed the narrative and was disregarded when it didn't fit, all right?
No.
However, what they did was it was a show trial to show people that they were exacting some sort of revenge on these nasty people. But you look at Goering, and if Hitler had been there, and there was the others that were there, some of them were pretending to be out of their head, and others were, like, to the end, abject Nazis who hated Jews, right? But these people couldn't have done anything without their subordinates and their subordinates, right? These were the people
where the cops come in, right? That's why I cried today over that video.
Well, we've got political police here, all right? And you have.
Dude, you got it. I'm sure glad the cops here don't got guns.
But they do. They do in London, don't they? They got guns in London, around the centre of London. And don't forget, we've got these fucking gunships that drive around A, London, and B, up and down the country.
Why do you have gun police officers in metropolitan London?
Well, because
it's an entity by itself. It's like the Vatican, isn't it?
Well, that's that. Remember that part I told you about? You've got two types of police. You've got the police within that. I can't remember what they call. Somebody's going to tell me. You've got the Metropolitan Police, and you've got the London Police, and but you've got different variations. But in London, I mean, why have police got to have guns? Because even though we are not allowed to have guns here, criminals don't generally take any notice of that. And this is why over in America that they should have gun licenses and guns, because baddies will always get guns and good people need to have guns to protect themselves from bad people. It's common sense, isn't it? But yeah, London is a cesspit of
but
of
still, see, if you look at like the American Constitution, Canada's got the same pretty much Constitution, right? They took out the gun thing and all of that because they're a dictatorship.
Fucking is over there.
See,
unless you're First Nation, you'd be all right.
Oh, Canada's way worse than America.
Yeah.
This shit's been going on in Canada since the 60s and 70s. Like when Trudeau's father, old Pierre, yeah, that guy,
I thought, and there was me thinking it was Castro, but there you go. Yeah, but
well, he's not his father, is he? Because everybody knew back in the day that he was as bent as a 10-bob note.
Yeah, Mum was getting rinsed out by Castro, so yeah.
Oh fuck, and the Rolling Stones.
Excellent. So Mother was very, very accommodating to anybody who popped round. Nice.
See, that's the thing, right? I may be an old bastard, but guess what, man? I know the fireworks are going off, hey, honey. Oh, what a poor girl.
Yeah, I'll piss the dog off a treat, won't it? Fucking poor cow. Well, there it is. Anyway, look, mate, I'm going to get on to the next caller, see what they've got to say. Call in again.
Yeah, man, anytime. And yeah, by the way, my trucks that I owned were, like, you call them tipper trucks here, gravel trucks, right?
Yep.
And yeah, dude, and ice roads, yeah, I've drove them. I called you before, remember, when I was really drunk.
Fair play. My jaw's probably
Do you
fucking
remember that? That was about a year ago. Hey,
mate,
have a good one, bud.
I was slaughtered myself, but anyway, it's fine. Anyway, I'll catch you in a bit, buddy, all right?
Yeah, that'd be good.
See you in a bit, mate. Oh, what a lad. I haven't got through any of the stories I was going to do yet, but fuck it, that's fine. Will we get anybody else calling? We got 546 people watching, which I'm amazed actually, but I think because we got into some deep shit and we got another call. And when I say deep shit, I meant interesting stuff. Hello, how are you?
Oh, hello, Simon. Hey, calling again.
How is it?
Oh, well, it was quite good round here. There's a lot of fireworks going off outside. A lot of people letting off fireworks. Not much really to say, but I will phone up, or I have phoned up. You were talking on your online earlier in the week about drinking and cutting down on drinking and everything. And I basically, I still drink. I'm drinking tonight. But I basically cut down years ago because I joined the local judo club at the time. And I wanted to train for judo. And so because I was training for judo, I don't do it anymore, a bit older now. Because I was training for that, I couldn't go out with my friends and drink heavily. We all drank after we'd been down the dojo, the gym basically for judo and that. We all went for a pint at the end of the night, and in them days you used to have to rush in and get the pint before the
last orders.
They rang the bell and told you they were closing. But basically, I'm saying that if you get into something that you really enjoy, like with your training, you won't need to drink so much, and it will just be cut down in a natural way rather than forcing yourself to cut.
Well, this is working at the moment for me. I meant to go to the gym this morning, but I didn't get around to it early enough. And then after a while, the gym gets too busy. I don't want to go. Problem was, I went to the gym this evening and I hadn't drunk last night because I wanted to go to the gym today. And I stayed sober today because I had to go to the gym. But by the time I got to the gym, it was late in the day. I hadn't ate enough, right? So I was weak, right? And it was round packed full of posers who you got one person videoing and the other doing some posing. I was just like, get me the fuck out of it. So I did, because it takes me 2.25 hours to get round, because I do all these different exercises. So I did a set load of exercises and did them right. And the plan was, I thought, fuck it, because I was low on fuel, I hadn't had any tea, and I had to get ready for this. So I thought, fuck it, I'll do those exercises and I'll come back in the morning and finish off the rest of the routine, because I only go twice a week at the moment anyway. So I haven't failed this time. It's fine. But I cannot stand when it's rammed.
It's like giving up smoking. I never ever smoked in my life, but it's like giving up smoking. It's not, you know, if you have one where it doesn't quite work, think of all the success you've had. You've had a hell of a lot of success with the gym, and you're probably feeling better through the fitness, through going to the gym and everything.
I've taken pictures.
I encourage you to do it.
I've taken pictures from the start until now, and there's an obvious, different change. And when I've finished, well, not finished, when I've got a lot further down the road, I'll do a video saying, and I posted a picture on YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook and whatever, earlier on. I think this was me with Gavin McGuinness, and if you look, I was 18 stone.
Right.
I was a fat bastard. I'll see if I can get it up a minute. Get it up. I don't mean like that.
Remembering you were Gavin, that's quite a while back.
A long time ago. Just trying to think when that was. But if I show you the present screen, and some of you Windows, that one there. You can see how fat I am and how fat Winston. Winston's lost a lot of weight. And there at me, I'm semi pregnant there. So, and I was a fucking mess. Pit and edema, bad ankle, gout.
Oh my goodness, crikey, yeah.
All sorts of other shit. And I ain't going to show you the picture of me at the moment, but I mean, I've got lumps coming out here now. The muscles in my back are going. My arms are much bigger. You've got lines now in your arms where the muscles forming and stuff. So it's all working.
Yeah, you'll feel so much better for it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope so. But
on another note, completely different, as you're an HGV driver and that, if you'd want to move up to my way, they're advertising for HGV drivers around here.
I've just landed myself something, luckily, because I walked out of the job. It was running my life, and I was, to put it this way, I quit Thursday, Friday I've rested, Saturday today I've rested, and I was still exhausted when I went to the gym, because once you come out of something, you then relax, and then you're fucked, aren't you? But I've got something else to go to next week, which is class 1, and it's night work, which I'm not happy about, but I'll do it, and we'll do that. And then what I'm going to try and do is, there's a place who now has a different agency in it, and I want to try and get into there, do 3 days a week, and then put everything I've got into this and try and build the channel up. Now, I've got a question here, Rev. So what's your thoughts on the Palestinian, I guess, protests at the Cenotaph next Sunday? Should we allow it as a symbolic gesture to not commit genocide, which is what our ancestors fought against? Well, actually, let's think about it on the different side. They could protest any other day they want. And don't forget of how many Muslims fought alongside us in the First and Second World War that also died. So they're being disrespectful to their war dead. There's the other side of the coin. Now, I don't like what Israel's doing, right? But I don't like Hamas either. But the problem is the innocent people right in the middle are getting fucking slaughtered. There it is. That's my take.
I think it's time for Israel to pull, not to carpet bomb Gaza, but I don't think they should really protest on the 11th for the 11th.
Other days you could, even if you don't like it, other days you could kind of get it, right?
Yeah. It just shows how we become, as your first caller was talking about, how we become supposed to be diverse and everybody's together, and we find that it doesn't work at all. That basically the Jews and the Palestinians hate each other, and this is going on our streets now. And really, we should say this is not our war. We left there in 1948. We were kicked out by the United Nations.
But how many times does Islam go around the world and blow up places, trying to bring attention to something or whatever? Islam doesn't want to fit in. Islam wants to rule. Islam wants to dominate, and they're there. What it is, when they're at sort of 0.5% of the population, they're timid, they get along, they assimilate. When they're at 2%, they start asking for special privileges. When they're at 5%, they want Sharia law. They want their own prepared food. They don't want dogs in the area, drinking in the area. They want all sorts of stuff. And they want privileges they don't fucking deserve, right? When they get to 15%, you're fucked, totally. But in the meantime of getting there, they start putting lots of shops on the street. So you've now got your Turkish barbers, got your chicken shops. I mean, some places have got like fucking 15 chicken shops on one high street. I mean, why? Why do you need it? Money laundering, all for the betterment of Islam. Then you got the car washes. How many of those are Muslim run, right? Something to think about. But then you've got all of the mosques, and now they want to put call to prayer outside. It's all about taking over. Now, how many times in a Islamic country have they let us put a Christian church up and start to dominate that area and have a Christian only area? Well, can I answer that? It's never.
Well, we know
right?
we know the answer to that is never.
Right. Here's
ever.
the thing: the problem with the West, and especially the problem with British, is we're reasonable, we're nice, we try and play fair, we try and to understand people. Well, that's come to an end now. Fuck you, Islam. All right, that's how it is. It should be like that. It should be that we say this is this, no more. And you've pushed it too far.
Go in.
But here's the thing, right? If you look at, say, for instance, everybody or nobody could say fuck all to Jewish people, right? Couldn't say it. Now, for years, they've been harping on about the Holocaust, and that was their reason. You can't say anything to us because of the Holocaust, and you're all anti-Semitic, right? Fuck off. I will criticize you if you're doing something wrong. It's not anti-Semitism. It's pointing out that you are making mistakes, like all the different UN resolutions that you break every fucking year and nobody bats an eyelid. Yeah, us, if we do it, we're fucking wipe the floor with, right? They get a pass. Not anymore, because you've seen the world has turned on them, right? Now, they're saying that there's anti-Semitism all around the world. Well, it's funny that, because you told all these cunts that hate you to come into all of our countries, and now they're coming after you. It's kind of, you were playing a game where you thought you were going to win, and you haven't won. But the thing is, right, you look at all these countries, and I've said this for fucking years. I said, the countries that will turn around first and get medieval are the ones at the moment, which was back, say, 3-4 years ago, that are sucking on the cock of Islam and can't wait to do enough for it, right? Now, these countries have realized that it doesn't matter how left-wing you are and how much you try and appease Islam, you cannot appease it. And now they want to deport en masse everybody that's come. That's a total turnaround. But I've also said, and you've probably heard me say it enough times, that what we have to watch is the pendulum. The pendulum was here, right? That's actually right, but it looks left to you lot, I think, right? Was all the way over there. But when it swings back, because the left will be on board with this, they'll swing it back so far right because it's the only way to get themselves safe and do what they want.
I think with Islam, I think the Palestinian and Jewish thing is a different thing, but I think with Islam in particular, how Islam's going in our country, nothing to do with Palestine and that, but just Islam in general. I'm hoping that the pendulum swings, and I'm hoping that the pendulum does go further to the right. I'm not sure if reform is going to be the answer.
Oh, but, what, Tice?
Not very.
Richard have the jab Tice. He's another paid fucking opposition.
Sorry?
Richard paid opposition Tice. No, I wouldn't fucking trust him, and I don't trust Farage, another paid opposition. What happened?
That's the problem. But who do we trust?
You don't trust anybody in politics at the moment.
We haven't got Farage. Well, we haven't got Farage now. He's
listen. What happens in times of turmoil is something pops up out of nowhere, right? Do you remember that? Is it the Vorst party over in Italy? Was it where it was a comedian and somebody else that they all popped up, right? It will be like that. Something will happen that will be fucking extreme, right? And there will be a group of people that come up out of it that organized it, that everybody will look to for leadership. And these people will be so fucking powerful that they will get a seat. The system will, the system's been trying to fuck us over, and it will lose.
Have you seen too? Did you see I think he was a Scottishman who lives in London. He was complaining about Palestinian flags down his street, and the police arrested him.
Well, you would do,
Because
because
he
at the
put
end of the day,
I put a Facebook page up saying I don't like all these Palestinian flags on my street.
do you know why they arrest him and not do something about it?
Because they're afraid to tackle the people who put the flags up.
There's too many. What you do is you take out the threat. He is the threat. Why do you think that we're not allowed to report on all the nonsense from the Islam up and down our country, fucking our kids and fucking the Sikh girls?
Well, that was even worse, wasn't it? What they done to Stephen Yaxley Lennon.
But why did they do that? And by the way, he's paid by the Middle East Forum, I'm led to believe. So, you know, he comes out and says he's a Zionist, right?
Oh, yeah, there was something about that.
Right? Yeah, him and one other, which I wouldn't mention. But basically, when he says, I support the fact that Israel should have its own country, okay, well, what about the what they're doing over there? What about the sterilization of the Ethiopian Jews that were in that country? What about the fact they're expelling everybody else? Oh, yeah. What about the fact that they're expelling numerous people out of the country that aren't Jewish, but yet we have to take all these other people into our country? Come on.
Yeah, it seems that Israel is allowed to be basically an apartheid state. That
well, they are.
Jews
They've been apartheid. They've been like that for years.
Come to that, Simon. Pakistan as well. Pakistan is kicking out all the Afghans that are crossing the border into Pakistan because they're not Pakistanis.
Right, every other country's racist but us, by the way. We're the only cunts
so all these other countries are allowed to do it. And if we turn around and call somebody a Paki, you know, you're likely to have the police knock on your door and arrest you for it.
And yet, in the old days, it was a term of endearment.
But the Pakistanis can say, oh, they're Afghans, they can clear off back to Afghanistan.
Yeah, basically everybody else can do it but us, because old Whitey is the bad person, right? Now, so if a Welsh person is called a taff, that's all right, okay? But if you call a Pakistani a Paki, you shorten it down, then you're being racist. Although it's not, because it used to be a term of endearment. Now, if you look, right, say, for instance, in parts of London and different places where all these different color people rubbed along quite happily, white people, black people, Pakistani people, or whatever, they all rubbed along. They all had nicknames for each other, right? And it generally was based on their color. But it was a term of a fucking endearment. And it's only since the political parade have got on it, the woke, the ever fucking offended, that they've taken a problem. Somebody called me a cracker. As long as I can call him a name, great. And you know, when you actually see, right, a black man and a white man who get on really well, fucking banter is savage, right?
Well, you were talking about that earlier about what's his name, who goes by the name of Red Pill Phil. I would see him as an Englishman. He's just the same type of comedy as we have and everything, and the way he thinks and everything. It's nothing to do with his color. It's the attitude that he has. Do
you remember when he dealt with the left, and they were trying to tell him that he should feel offended? He was like, he was like, "Fuck off." But he's an interesting guy, and I mean, I think he's married to a white woman. He's got mixed race kids, and you know, fair fucking play to him. I always felt he was all right myself. I think he might think that I'm slightly racist because I'm a bit more outspoken, but I'm not. If you are a good person, you're a good person. If you're not, you're not. And I'll call you, you know, what I don't like is what happens when lots of black people get together. They fucking shit on each other. They're, not all of them. And it depends on, there was a black guy who's been interviewed, and the white person said to him, why aren't you pro Black Lives Matters? And he said, fuck Black Lives Matters. And I was like, okay, no. He said, well, how do you say that? He said, these are the same, and he said the N-word, these are the same N-word that wanted me, when I went down, laughed at me. These are the same N-word that fucking thought that it was funny when I was suffering. These were the same people that took great pleasure in an N-word failing, right? And he said, this is the same person. I've seen this. An N-word is a N-word's worst enemy. What he's saying basically is the black people that he's coming in contact don't want to see a black man do well. They want to see him fail. I don't get that. I would have hoped that black people would have wanted to lift each other up and get each other going and get into a position of you know, where they do well and support each other. But jealousy is something that runs through them, and I don't get it. We got enough jealous people in
the ones who think like that are probably the ones who are not doing well themselves and don't think they ever will do well. So they want to bring everybody down to their level rather than try and raise themselves up to a level where they're better. They think, oh, well, I'm down here and I'm worth nothing. If I can bring all the rest down to my level, then I'm the same as them. Rather than can I raise myself up to be better than I am and everything.
Well, jealousy is a terrible thing, right? And if you like have all the deadly sins that the old Bible warned you about, then you're not going to do well. However, I was listening to a black guy on my phone earlier on, and I've shared it on my Facebook, and he talks about your inner monologue. Now, I'll do a survey on here. How many people have their own thoughts in a voice in their head that talk, and you talk out in your head what you're thinking, and you can almost not debate it, but you can have a conversation in such a way that you'll go through a process of stuff, and it'll say, well, you don't do this because it's a bad idea. And you're like, all right, well, what about if I do it that way? And you're like, a lot of people think in picture and other people think in voice, and it's called internal monologue. If you've got an internal monologue, put one in the comments, right? I have more than an internal monologue. I fucking have a row with myself, right? But this guy was saying the internal monologue, if you don't tell it shut the fuck up on occasions, will tell you that you can't do this, that you're not good enough, that you're incapable of. Nobody wants to watch you, all the rest of it. Right. So
a lot of ones coming up.
Now, here's an interesting thing, very interesting thing, is that less people have an internal monologue than do have. Right. So less people have an internal monologue than don't have an internal monologue. Now, apparently it's no indication of intelligence or IQ, but I would say that people that do have an internal monologue probably can make at times more rational decisions based on the fact that they've talked it out, albeit with themselves. How many times do you have to talk to somebody? And when you're talking to them, it's a relief. It makes sense. Right.
Oh, that's a good point. Very good point.
Well, having an internal monologue, you can have a chat with yourself.
At times, we have an idea and we know what we're going to do, but we say, oh, before I do this idea, I'll just talk to, and we mention somebody, and then perhaps for you as your daughter, you say, I'll just talk to my daughter, and then you continue with the idea that you were going to do anyway, or they may tell you, that's a silly idea, and you change the idea, but and then sometimes we do that internally.
Now I'm going to ask a couple more questions. Whose internal monologue won't shut the fuck up at night? Right? If it won't, if you have a problem with that, put 2. Right? And
I wouldn't put 2 on that.
Right? And also gut instinct. Your gut instinct, is that actually your internal monologue, or is it something else? If you think your gut instinct is your internal monologue, put 3. Be interested to see.
I think it is.
Right. Okay. So ASMR with Molly needs to do ASMR because that fucking internal monologue won't shut the fuck up. I know what it's like. Right. That's overthinking. Right. So we've got internal monologues. We've got internal monologues flat out, and we've got internal monologue ease by a lot of people here. Your gut instinct. This is interesting. Ben, what the fuck is 4? Help me here, love. I don't know what 4 is. Okay.
Yeah, Ben, what's 4?
Yeah, come on, Ben. We're in a 4th dimension here, is it? Yeah, could be that. 7.
That could be 4th dimension.
Right. Joseph Mengele, nice little voice. NHS 2021. What a beautiful name. For anybody that knows history.
Yeah.
That is a fucking legendary handle, by the way. 7, I wasn't listening. Typical. So, yeah, we got another 5 there. I'd be interested to know what that's about. Probably getting lost. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation because I also think that the people who are interested in what we're interested in here are thinkers, are worriers, worry about the future, that kind of stuff. Now, the sort of person that's more aware, I would have thought, about what's going on and the future and all the rest of it, is the sort of person that will have an internal debate with themselves and is a worrier and a thinker. It's not your sixth sense. It's out of your ego thinking.
I think we all should try and help or that the future, and perhaps we do worry about the future, but really first of all we have to get ourselves right, just like as we go right back to the start of this conversation, that you're saying you're cutting down on alcohol and going to the gym more and that. And if we put ourselves right, it's like, I suppose, trying to paraphrase what Jordan Peterson, if we put ourselves right, we can then tackle the rest of the world that's not quite right.
The problem is when you cut out all the fun things, I won't say what's life worth living for, because that's completely wrong.
I think you find other fun things to do. Like when I was a lot younger, I found a lot of, I wouldn't now, I'm a bit older and everything, and wouldn't want to be chucked around like that. But I really found it fun to go to the dojo and and do judo and really get into the competitions in the judo and everything, and I found quite a lot of fun with that. But so I think you have to find other fun things to do.
Well, I need to find something that's fun other than the gym.
Things out.
I fucking despise the gym. I have to go because I've started, as I say, getting these muscles appearing, which is feeling good, and it looks better than obviously what I looked like go back 4 years ago. It wasn't a good shape. I looked like a little Buddha, right?
Well, you did look a bit fat on them photos.
I was proper fucking fat. And don't forget, I was holding that in as well at the time, right? So yeah.
Because you were being you were being the bouncer, weren't you?
Yeah, there's an interesting picture of that. But yeah, I mean, I had a broken toe and gout at the time, plus pit and edema. All my feet and ankles were swelling up. The bottom of my legs were swelling up during the day. And I was drinking on that tour 10 pints a day, right? Probably at least
10 pints.
Yeah, well, I'd have a couple of pints before I went out. Otherwise, you'd be too edgy, right? And then after you were looking after him in the pub, after we'd have a load of beers up. So, but I used to do 10 pints daily, think nothing of it. And then when I was doing after that tour, I'd be at home and I'd drink X amount of cans a day. Then I'd have a load at night time. That's hilarious. The Sargon bodyguard thing. Yeah, well, it was one of them, wasn't it? I tell you what.
To a degree, though, because I drank a lot more when I was younger. To a degree, when we're younger, we can drink, and then as we get older, I think we should really cut down, just because our bodies can't take it as we get older.
Well, mine don't like it.
I know somebody will probably put in the comments now, my granddad lived till he was 105 and he drank so many pints a day, but they have
he was just fucking hard. It's just some of it, right? The other thing is, as I've got older, I've cut out stuff. I've cut out all sorts of foods. Mostly processed, although I bought some quickly tonight because I was in a fucking rush and I'll pay for it later. So I got rid of I used to drink 2 liters of Coke a day. Pasties, sweets, all sorts of crap. I was doing that plus the 10 pints, right? I was really, really bad. And slowly over the course of like X amount of time, I've cut out all of these different things, which is weird, really, because you think you get better, worse as you get older. But in my case, I was lucky. And I'm healthier now than I was in my 30s, believe it or not.
I can believe it from the pictures you're showing.
Yeah, it was quite bad back then. And I was still dealing with lots of things like depression, shit like that. Obviously, as you get older, you become to be able to moderate yourself if you're lucky and understand more about what makes you bad, what makes you good. And you do tests. You stay away from something for a while and you see, does your life improve or not? And you still go back to it sometimes, but then you come away from it.
Do you have to take medicine for your bipolar?
I took antidepressants for 18 years.
Oh.
Different types. So sometimes this one wasn't working, so they put me on that one. And when I was homeless in the van, they had me on one and they put me on the other. And I thought you were supposed to reduce one and then build the other. I went, no, I keep taking them and then come off the other one. Oh. I couldn't stand. And I was still trying to drive a truck because I had to pay for myself. I was balanced when I was sat in the truck, but when I got up in the night, my legs were all over the place. anyway, I stopped taking the tablets. But yeah, it was a pretty bad time. And I was drinking heavily, was taking these tablets, and my mood swings, I'd go up, I'd be out having a great time, then I'd crash and I'd feel suicidal and back up, and it's all over the place, tiring fucking thing. No sleep because the head's going flat out. That's when I got into those ASMR videos to try and shut the head off. And what I worked out was that I was so fucking tired because I couldn't sleep and depression that what I do is I put on a documentary for history. And as soon as you focused on that rather than what you were doing, poof, you're out. So that's how I had to deal with it. So it might work for others. So get the phone, get the TV on a timer, get something that you've seen before that you're interested in, put it on. As soon as you concentrate on that, your brain can shut off.
I suppose, thank you for talking to me for so long. I think perhaps sort of let somebody else come on now, and some of them may be going, good, get him off.
No worries.
But just before I go, if anybody, because you're pleased that you're settled now, but if anybody else, HGV drivers are looking for a job, it's Jack Richards in Norfolk are looking for HGV drivers, and they say text Jack to 84101, and that's just for anybody out there who's a HGV driver and thinks, I might as well give it a try. But other than that, have a good night, Simon. I think it's time I went off.
No worries.
Else come on.
Yeah, we'll get somebody else. All right, you take it steady, and I might speak to you on the next one. All right, bud?
Yeah, okay. Bye for now.
No worries, take it steady. Well, that's the question I was going to ask you lot. Is there any difference between me doing this sober or pissed? What do you think? Am I more funny when I'm pissed? Am I more entertaining when I'm sober? Let me know. If you think it's a better stream that we talk about more interesting stuff when I'm sober, put 1. If you think it's better when I'm pissed, put 2. Hello.
It's better that we talk. Oh, hang on.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Yes. So,
Mr. Jack Richards of Fakenham, Norfolk,
yes,
has a big fucking problem with me.
Oh dear, what have you done?
No, it's what he did to his staff.
All right.
You know, in 2020, and there was some shit going down. In 2021, if you wanted your job with Mr. fucking Jack Richards of Fakenham, you had to have a procedure.
Right, okay. I'm just sorry, mate, because I'm reading the comments as well, and everybody's saying better sober. There you go. But yeah, so you don't work unless you've had the jab?
Yes.
Bit totalitarian, isn't it?
Because I used to interact with their drivers, and they'd all be made, if they wanted to work, that's what they needed to do. Oh. Now, I'll have that in the area that he's recruiting drivers. It's a bit of a fucking desert, but possibly don't do that to your fucking drivers.
Well, especially as it was experimental. You're asking them to do something you're not actually fully sure on. It's not like saying, take the polio jab or take the fucking... Mind you, in saying that, I'm not too keen on measles, mumps, and rubella, but you wouldn't want any of those things yourself, would you? But however, no, and we're not going to go into medical misinformation and all the rest of it on here. So we'll just simply say that it wasn't his job to tell you to take it, or you have no job, because I do believe that that comes under some legal terminology, I'm sure. But yeah, I was reading something earlier on, and it was a thing in a paper about, they were saying that the process that went through when the pandemic came out, right, and the decision making within government, number 10, all of a sudden, all the women who were making who were there to try and make decisions, the blokes just said, shut up, we're not listening, and stopped listening to them during the pandemic. And they said that that was sexist and oppressive, and basically if you'd listened to us women, it would have been better. But I saw, I can only assume, somebody who's incredibly commie or socialist or whatever it was, And they said what we should have had is more women of color and gender difference, basically, so that if you'd have got a trans black woman in there, and they were saying that we should have had more of these and more women of color and stuff like that, then we could have demanded what we wanted. And if you didn't like give us what we wanted, we could have called you racist, or we could have called you transphobic or whatever, and we could have ensured then that everybody was forced into having a jab whether they liked it or not. And I was like, yeah, it sounds a bit like commune, but there it is. But this is what it is. I mean, to be honest, everything should be left to your discretion. But they said to you, if you didn't take it, you couldn't go out. If you didn't take it, you wouldn't get your freedom back. If you didn't take it, you couldn't go on holiday.
Susan got just sidelined because she stood up to her principles.
I got sacked.
If you're in the
It's
medical
like-
profession and you didn't get it, you're all fucked.
I
Mr. Carer.
I got sacked.
Yeah, if you didn't, hang on, Banksy's about, yeah.
Banksy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't claim anything back for unfair dismissal now because I had to leave a week before because I found another job. I had to find another job because I had no income. If I didn't get another job, I'd have got sacked. So I had to find another job before I got sacked, if you know what I mean.
But they put you in a situation where you were never
I
ever
like
going to
that.
get a fair outcome out of it. And that's the way that a lot of people have been treated. And the people that did willingly go along and do exactly what they were told, who are now suffering, are still stuffed.
Yep.
But a lot of people became millionaires or billionaires during that time, and it was all gravy for them.
And now it's all coming out. They've got to live with the guilt of what they did.
I don't think they're guilty, mate, because these people
Not feel-
No, you can't
don't
feel
see
guilt
us as
for-
human beings. They don't
not-
see
not-
us like that. They
Not
just
doing it intentionally, but now knowing the full facts, you can have a bit of guilt.
well, like I say, there's a lot of sociopaths in these positions that won't ever feel empathy for the people that they've made suffer in any way, whether it be people that lost their jobs or people that were made ill over something, or people who lost relatives, or people who lost relatives during the thing that couldn't see their relatives when their relatives died. These people couldn't give two fucks about them. They have no feelings. This is why, I mean, if you can get a leader that's got empathy and feelings, he'll be a shit leader. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's a case that they won't make. I mean, take for instance Churchill. Churchill, he's done some things in the past, like when he led the Lusitania into its demise so that he could bring the Americans into a war. Now, if you had a lot of empathy, you knew that there were women and kids on there and you couldn't have done that, but he just was mathematics, right? I mean, if you remember during the Second World War, he told these men to basically, you are now going to be the jam in the sandwich. As the Germans come towards you, you'll basically give your life so that all these other people can get off the beach. Now, a man with empathy probably would have struggled to make that decision. But there it is. But politicians, by their very nature, are self-absorbed, narcissist, sociopathic type of creatures. You won't get to where you've got to go because A, you get threatened, B, you get bought, C, you get told to do things that are totally immoral, right? Now, if you can manage to go along with the program, you haven't got any empathy. I mean, people like you and me would drink ourselves into a fucking early grave very quickly if we were asked to make some of the decisions that these cunts do. And it's not because these decisions are endlessly good for us.
In the early grave, watching what they're doing.
It's horrible, isn't it?
To be honest, this is probably, I really wish that I could travel 200 or 300 years forward and see how they write this part of our history up.
Oh, bugger.
I mean, it will be known as
Not gonna look good.
bad times, evil times, and it will be known as the dumb times.
I know you might say that in the harbinger of doom, but to give me a reason to not be doomy.
Prophet of doom.
Because it's bad for your health. All right. I mean, literally, you would turn the Grim Reaper around. He'd come to you. Oh, sorry, wrong house. Bye. Just going.
I made that bastard cry.
The Grim Reaper's like, I can't do it. I need time off. I can't deal with this man. He's fucking, honestly, he wants to. I'll kill myself. You're already dead. Oh, well, I would have killed myself. Yeah. Anyway,
Right, well, I'm going to bugger off.
lovely job. Right.
Have a good night.
You take it steady, and I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, see you a bit.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Some of you may have remembered back in the old days when they first started ringing in during lockdown that they were absolutely mangled. So it's quite nice to have them completely sober and talk sober, which is interesting. Right, where are we? I was going to get some stories up, wasn't I? See if we can find it. Nope, didn't want that one. Okay. I must have. I know what happened. Fucking lost a lot, didn't I? Because the fucking computer crashed. Anyway, let's go through some of the comments. Basically, from what I can gather from all of what you were saying, that you prefer me being sober. Hello.
Evening, Simon.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, man. How are you?
Sober. That's all I can say. The rest of it's fucked, but yeah, I'm sober. So, how are you?
Yeah, nice one. I've been drinking this Carlsberg export, the pint cans, for quite some time now.
Right.
And one thing I am noticing is they used to have it's like a glue bit on the can. And you rip it apart, you put it in the fridge to cool down. Instead of the old plastic thing they used to have around the cans, yeah.
That thing that used to apparently, when it got washed out to sea, catch birds at sea and stuff like that, or penguins or whatever it was. Yeah, I know the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm there tonight, and I've worked it out. There's about 3 out of 10 4-packs where the glue bit is underneath the ring pull. It sticks onto your beer glass, and before you know it, it sticks on, and you pour in your pint, and it sticks onto the beer glass, and then it was nearly too late. It nearly went everywhere tonight. I was trying to pull this fucking can off my beer glass with a serious rubber.
So
sticking onto it. So this is more of a this is a situation we need to be talking about.
What, the danger
really
of spillage?
Well, it could have been, mate.
Yeah, it could have been a fucking tragedy. I mean, calm down, innit? You don't want that behaviour, do you?
No, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want that, mate. It's spillage.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't blame you. I mean, we'll
think it was Fatsums. What are Fatsums doing with 4 cans?
To be honest, how the fuck do they come, actually? Do you know they come in a cardboard little thing on the outside that keeps them in place. I think then.
Well, oh, no, actually, no, yeah.
Yeah,
I
you have to pop
that.
the side of the cardboard and out it comes. So, yeah. But
exactly, yeah. But this is serious, mate. You don't want to be spilling it all over yourself, do you?
Not really, mate.
You know what I mean?
You might have to delegate. You might have to delegate in times of alcohol, right? Get somebody else to pour your pint for you. I mean, you would do it at a pub. Why not get it done at home? Then you can blame them if it goes wrong.
Nah, delegation. She'd soon say, "Shut up."
That's a decline, then, yeah.
Bastard.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it was
definitely say that.
Worth a thought. Never mind. Anyway,
I'm hearing nothing but fireworks. What the fuck is going on, mate? It's supposed to be tomorrow night.
Yeah,
not tonight.
Well, you know what it is? It is Saturday night, a chance for a jolly, and let's be honest, Sunday night is like a school night coming, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Tomorrow night is supposed to be Guy Fawkes, mate.
Yeah, but what they're going to do is they're going to do it tonight so they can get fucking pissed up, innit?
Well,
I get it.
Anyway, more money than sense. There's nothing better than a free firework. That's what I say. Nothing better.
I mean, how much does it cost now to do a fireworks display? You're looking at probably £100, aren't you? If it's a small one in your back garden.
I prefer the free fireworks. I've never ever. I bought a couple of sparklers once, but that was it.
Yeah, fuck that. Do you remember the advert when you put them down, don't pick them back up? I remember that advert.
Well, I remember a few of those adverts used to scare the shit out of me, mate.
Yeah, they
back
were
in the
really
day.
good back in the day. Like, stay away from open water and don't get into fridges and
Oh,
all the other ones. I
yeah.
remember them all, but yeah, they used to terrify the shit out of you. Anyway, me old China, I'm going to play some videos in a minute and ask what people think. So I'm going to have to get on. But you have yourself a good night and don't spill any beer.
Well, I'll try not to. Thank you. Good night.
No worries, mate. See you in a bit. Bye bye. I wanted to show you this stunning and brave thing. Hang on, that's invite. Don't want that. There we are. Windows, share. Now I don't know if you can hear. Look at the fucking state of it. Tell me if you could hear this, by the way. If you could hear it, put one. If it's, I can hear it, I suppose. Actually, if it's coming through my headphones, I wonder if you could. But yeah, from the river to the sea. But that thing there, no sound. All right, well, that thing's going, and it's like lisping its tits off. Okay, that is meant to be allegedly trans. Now, that's singing all about Palestine. And I'm just wondering just how well that would get on over in Gaza. Just, why is it that these people that either go to Islam or that whatever, why is it they're ginger? Gingers have a hard enough time anyway. I mean, really? Anyway, I ain't going to play any more of that because it's quite frankly fucking munting. No, can't play that. That's violence. So, since you can't hear it, let me see if I can share it again and maybe see if I can get you some volume, but probably not. Share screen. Also, yeah, no, so it's just being a twat. Right, anyway. Now, this is Paul Golding saying that next weekend is a trap. Do not fall into it. So I want to know what you think about this. Because he's right. It is a trap. We're being led into a trap. No ifs, no buts. Now, he's saying to everybody not to show up because you're only going to come off worse. When I say that, not violence-wise, right? He's not saying that. He's saying you will get nicked by the police. You will get painted out as a bad person. You'll end up with fines or worse. And he says, this entire situation is being engineered, he said, to be a trap. So I was led to believe that Tommy was going to put a call out or a shout out, and it hasn't happened. So maybe they've all come to the same conclusion. But I do know that the football boys are going to be going up there, as it stands at the moment, to defend our memorials, basically. There was an ex-headhunter, I don't actually know what that means, within the football firms, who's obviously abroad now, and he's telling the blokes to get down there and get into it. But I suppose, you know, it's one of those things when somebody's abroad telling you to do stuff in your country, do you say, well, that person's got the right intentions, or do you say, where are you? Someone's gone ping in here. I wonder what the fuck that is. God only knows. Yeah, I just wonder what you thought. Right, so what is this? So that's Milan, by the way. Absolutely stunning and brave. They all look very, very Italian there, so that's nice. Shared that. This is pointless, but this is a liberal having a meltdown because he's got to do an 8-hour shift and he can't cope, and he's 4 hours into it and he's literally falling apart. But it's a shame. Here you go. You've got turn fucking noise off. If you can't hear it, there's no point in me having the noise on. But these are British patriots going down today, I believe, to protect the war memorials. So fair fucking play to those, ladies and gentlemen. This was the police kicking off at our patriots for holding out the Union Jack on the barriers. Although Hamas can pile through with their illegal flags, but that seems to be all right. We've talked about this, collecting money for the Poppy appeal, and they're overrun. These were, you look at some of these, right? They're kids. And I can't help but think that the useful idiots, right? That somebody feeds them full of propaganda and says, These are horrible people, blah, 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 blah. Now, apparently, they're kicking off because they're pro-Hamas. And they've been told that Israel have had the Israeli soldiers were being fed by McDonald's. To be honest, I mean, when you look at it, that's a war crime in itself. I mean, I know that some people give their kids a treat when they give them McDonald's. For me, that would be like giving them napalm. I mean, I love the smell of McDonald's, you know, when they've got a new burger out or whatever. But when that stuff hits my guts, because I've been away from that shit for so long, my guts go, fuck you, we're not having that. And if I ate it before I went to sleep, I'd wake up being sick. Serious. But let's have a look, see if we can get this play. Oh, no, won't play. That's wonderful. Let's try again. These kids, they're having a laugh. They laugh at it. Right? Look, see, it's not a bit of a joke, really. It does make you wonder. Right, that's that poppy thing again. Hang on. Is that in the center of... Hang on, where is that? I think that was in the station. So, was it King's Cross? So these people have come out and protested everywhere. Now, I'm trying to work out what that is about. And for the love of God, I can't actually work it out. If I don't steal it, then it's got the Nazi bit, which I'm not really getting. Somebody else is going to steal it. And it says Israeli proverb. But who, I'm assuming that's a Palestinian person that's written that. But I'm still trying to work out exactly why they had to put the swastika in there. Just, you know, I don't get it. So somebody might be able to help me out with that one. What else we got? Well, there you go. That is about as godly as, I mean, really? I'm going to make that bigger. Yeah. That's got fuck all to do with God there. And you know what the brown part is? That's minor attracted. It's just what you want, isn't it? I mean, can you imagine going to church and those fuckers are there? You're going to start questioning, aren't you? Right, so this is interesting. Basically, it's Arabic, right? But as Stan, the voice of Wales, has said, they fled from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan because of ISIS, Al Qaeda, and the Taliban. They were granted asylum, right? It says now they are in Europe. The above footage is from Germany waving the flag of ISIS, Al Qaeda, and the Taliban and calling for war. So you fled war because you hate war, and now you're pro-war and you're trying to stir up war. Was it the case that actually you were never fleeing war and you were nothing more than soldiers that were coming over to cause shit? Because it doesn't half look like that. Just saying. I mean, I'm Mr. Naive, right? Where is this? Fights breaking out, Free Palestine, masked thugs and the police. So I can't show that. This guy. Okay. Daddy Roscoe, another one who's busy at the moment in London. Police arrest pro-Palestine for a sign that said bomb the House of Lords by Mohammed at Trafalgar Square. Here's the thing. It's not the first person to have said that, right? It's not a new statement. But yeah, you could say it was slightly inflammatory. There we go. Right. Apparently, a 30-year-old Jewish girl has been found stabbed in her apartment in Lyon, France. And this has been painted on the door. I have to say, this is drumming up a lot of sympathy anyway. I mean, nobody wants to see a woman get stabbed, right? Get it? Totally. And to be honest, the sort of Jewish people that these people are going for are not the people, right, that are writing policy, that are telling people to bomb people or all the rest of it. These are low-level Jews, the same people that the leadership of Israel don't fucking like. And it's something I can't really talk about, but while we were all asked to take one or two, and you can work it out for yourself, they were on their fourth over there already. And there's many, many other things that I've looked at within Israel, and I've gone, but that's not good for the Jewish people. They're getting fucked over by their own kind. which kind of led me to think, I'm not totally sure what's going on here, because I always thought that all the Jewish stuck together after what went on. But apparently not. What else we got? So the most explicit, shocking video yet of a destroying kidnapped posters while supporting terror. So this mush, right, he's taken down all the posters where they're saying that Hamas has kidnapped these people and we want them back. And he's actually saying that he prays for Hamas and that they are his brothers and that he loves them. And he said, video me saying this and put it on YouTube. Because obviously he's going to get credit within the community for saying that and bigged up. This is what we have within our country. Extremists who all they do is serve Islam, whatever it tells them. And these are the same people that wouldn't put our laws forward. Now, these were the same people that were taking down posters. 1 second. I'm helping organize a vigil for those abducted by Hamas, putting up flyers around my town. Just saw someone taking it down. One of the flyers, I've asked them, and these people were like, don't video me, don't video me. And they know what they did is wrong. There it is. So, and there's us live. Now, given the fact that I've managed, how long? 2 hours and 10 minutes, stone cold fucking sober, I'd say that we've done all right. Just thinking about that. And as nobody else is going to call in, I shall end up wrapping it up. I hope it went better for you. I think it did, actually, to be fair. Certainly more on top. And somebody said you let people speak. Yes, I suppose when you're drunk, you talk over people. Not so good. So maybe this is the way forward. But I am stone cold fucking sober. And I suppose I could always wrap it up early, get to bed early, get down the gym before all the fucking rest of the posers get down there. And yes, I think we'll leave it at that. Anyway, hope you all liked it. And I would hope to do one next week, but it depends on the work situation at the moment, because obviously I'm not in a position where I know what's going on. Cheers, Betsy. Saved by the bell. Or was I? Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Is that Simon?
It is.
Very good. I believe religion is a problem. I think it's politics and greed.
Well, don't you think that anybody in the position of politics or religion at the top of all of them, take, for instance, any politician or any person in the leadership of any sort of religion ends up using it for their own greed, their own whatever you call it, and it gets bastardized. I mean, conservative isn't conservative. Labour isn't for the working man.
Which is the greed part.
So, do you think there's a religion out there at the moment that's actually any good? Or do you think they're all being corrupted?
Probably Buddhism is a good one.
You know, they've kicked off in the past.
To do with nature and whatnot.
I mean, I will say that Buddhism, they have kicked off themselves before. You don't fuck around with a Buddhist. You don't get them upset. But it's probably the one that wants to conquer the least and get on with the most. So, yeah, I don't see them being massively expansionist, do you? But I don't know too many Buddhists.
It's like if you look at what the globalists have a problem with, as far as countries-wise, the main two is like Syria and Iran. Right, Syria, they're like multiculturalism as far as religions living by side. If it wasn't to do with like the Western interference, they would be quite happy. And that's what the major problem is. Iran, for instance, after Israel, has the biggest Jewish population within the globe. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, yeah, they've moved over there and they were getting along all right. But the theory is that they want to expand into there. And a lot of Jews have moved that way. But there's a lot. I mean, it depends on who you get told by, because if you watch a documentary that's pro-Jewish, they'll give you this side. If you watch one that's pro-Islam, it'll give you the other version. And it's trying to read between the lines, isn't it? Because we don't live there, we don't actually know the truth. We can only go on what we're shown.
Well, me personally, I'm like atheist, so I don't really care for religion whatsoever. But if people want to believe, they want to believe. We're all dictated by the rich, the elites, the globalists, and I can't remember where I got going with this.
It's all right. It's a Saturday night. You're allowed to lose the track. I always fucking did on a Saturday night when I'd had a beer. But yeah, basically, power corrupts.
Zionists and Jews are different, though. There's about, I think it's 3 or 4 different denominations.
You've got Ashkenazi, haven't you, right? Jewish. You've got Orthodox. You've got, what's the other ones? Oh, I can't remember. But there are more than one version, isn't there? And I don't think they get along with each other. And I found that really weird.
And I believe in their book, not allowed to have a land until Jesus comes back on the second coming.
Sorry, somebody's actually commented on what you said here. Said, Rev, sorry, the caller identified something important, that Israel wants to go to war with Iran to force all the Iranian Jews to flee to Israel, all the parts of the Zio project. Interested?
Yeah, I believe it's something to do with the Exodus. It goes to, like, I believe it's the First Testament. Because a lot of Westerners believe that the apocalypse will be something along the lines of a nuclear war, which I don't believe, and the origins will be Iran, which was Persia.
The thing is, right, everybody thinks that these death cults, which is Judaism and Islam are right, but the thing is,
in every religion,
they won't kill themselves. And if they were the last to go out, that might be something different, right? But they can't be sure they're going to be the last, right? And these leaders are all right about sacrificing their own kind, but not themselves. And there are wars you can get over. Like, I mean, if you look at the Second World War and the First World War, it bombed the shit out of the places it went, but they could fix that up. What nuclear like waste or the after effect, radiation, all the other shit, you can't do anything with that. That's fucked it. That place can't be used now for however long. So
let me try and explain it this way then. If it was bullshit like the Knights Templar, maybe the Islamics would have been able to live peacefully.
So the Knights Templar went over there and caused this.
The Knights Templar went over to basically rob for gold and whatnot. Catholics had, to say Christianity had no reason to go over to Islam.
Let me see if I can get a picture, because there was a time, screenshots, I should have saved it. Right. Let me show you this. Just as well, I did save it. Screen share. Windows. There you go. Right. So this is the Ottoman Empire, right?
Not about them.
And they were still trying to expand, right? And if they hadn't, I mean, they had to be stopped, otherwise they carried on expanding, wouldn't they? Now, you could see how much bigger they got. So in like this part here, hang on, where is it? No, that part there, the beginning, right? And then this part after, and then this part and this part. But you could see it was expanding. Then it went to this part and that lot there and that lot there. And then the green part next, and then this here, and then the last part was the dark green, right? So Tunis, Malta, okay. But if you listen to them, they wanted to expand more than that, and they now plan. There's what they call them, fucking what they call them, is it clerics or whatever, these people that preach, and they're going on that what we want to do now is get all of this lot back and then go to Spain, France, and take over Europe, right? And they've got plans for the United Kingdom and all the rest of it. They want to expand. Islam wants to take over the world. That's its plan.
The extreme Islam wants to take over
But the
the world.
extreme
Yes, I
Islam
agree.
bullies all
I'm
the
gonna
rest of
say,
Islam.
During COVID, where I live, people were losing the job.
Hmm.
Right? And on Facebook groups for the local area, the only people who were helping, and I kid you not, right, the local restaurants, which are like Indian, Pakistani, and whatnot, right, were the only ones offering help. Salvation Army, the Church of England, nothing. There were what, 4, 5 curry houses. You tell us who's struggling.
Okay, so
and we will
what area
provide
were you in?
food for nothing. I'm in Bradford.
Right, so it's a massive population of Muslims there, isn't it?
And if you want to be specific in Bradford, I'm in Keighley.
Right, I don't know Bradford that well, but I know there's a massive population of Muslims within Bradford, isn't there?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you would expect, if they're predominantly a lot more Muslims there, Muslims to be pitching in and helping out, wouldn't you? No, fair play to them.
But why not what we would consider white religions helping out?
I can't answer that. I honestly don't. I mean, the church should have been doing its bit, but the church shut its doors. But the church has been corrupted. If you think that our church now is actually to do with God anymore, rather than trying to indoctrinate its people, our church teaches it that you should have voted against Brexit and you should be taking the medical intervention and you should be putting up with people teaching our kids fucking story time where they got the cock out. That's our church. The thing is, the Muslim church is still in some ways more traditional and more conservative. However, if you live in a predominantly Muslim area, then it's going to be them that's going to be pitching in more because there's more of them.
Well, exactly where I live, I'm not classed as a minority, but they're the ones who were helping.
So, were any of the Sikhs doing anything?
Not on Facebook, no.
Right, because you know about this Sikh society that go around to flood victims, places like that, or any sort of problem that's gone up and down the UK, and they come out and they provide vegetarian meals for all the people. That's something they do on a large scale. That's why I was asking, were they doing it around there? But if you've predominantly Muslim area rather than a Sikh area, then it's going to be the Muslims that come out and do it.
Yeah, but you'd think living in a Church of England, it'd be the Church of England doing it.
Okay, but how many churches actually around there at the moment are A, still working, or B, haven't been taken over by either a McDonald's or Islam?
Not a right lot.
There you go then. So they're not going to come out and do anything because they're not Christian churches anymore.
And greed, like I said to start with.
People have stopped going to Christian churches. So many of them are closed. Many of them aren't functioning anymore. Most of them have either been sold up to make flats. They've been sold to Islam to make mosques out of. They've been sold to McDonald's or fucking whatever else. There are a lot less churches. Well, because people have been told. People have been told that atheism's the way forward. Atheism's a new religion, and yet, if you're a Muslim, you cannot leave.
But who's telling them that?
Well, the system itself.
When I was in school, I'm 51 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in middle school, I was told, and I got detention 4 nights of the week, right, for saying I am English. No, I do not recognize myself as British. I am English. England is my country.
Mm-hmm.
Britain is a union.
But this is what we were talking about earlier on about the indoctrination. You will do what you're told. You don't think for yourself. You will not freely thought. We're pushing the British thing. Because at the end of the day, you start representing as English and that, you want to hold on to your traditions, your cultures. The British thing was a made up thing, wasn't it? All right, it's nice to be stuck together with the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Irish, but all the same, you were born in England, so you're English. But they wanted to do away with that self-representation, the thing that makes us who we are. And they've been trying to erode that since the 60s, when cultural Marxism was on tour. So I don't forget, we had a lot of very left-wing teachers come into the teaching in the 60s. And these were the ones that were following the thing. You know, they wear the CND badge, etc. They were very political, and they were too quick to tell the kids about their politics. I remember going home and telling my dad about something that these cunts were on about, but Dad, they shouldn't be teaching you that. That was then. But they were very anti our religion. The thing is, we went and marched under our banner. We fought for God and country, didn't we? Right. So if you can get rid of God and then try and take away our attachment to being English, then you've basically stopped a lot of people wanting to fight for what they believe in or what they belong to. This has been a long planned thing. You don't see fucking Islam doing this.
I'm going to say, I'll be honest with you. I stopped religion because I was Church of England. I stopped religion when politics got involved as a kid. I stopped football. I'm an avid Manchester City fan, or was. But then when they started kneeling for BLM, I stopped that.
But politics and the church go back hundreds of years.
Problem and greed.
Seriously, though, our politics were formed around the church. And the amount the church had sway over kings and queens and politicians back in the day has been incredibly strong. So, unfortunately, now they've managed to destroy a lot of the church. And with the fact that we now have internet, so we can start reporting on all the nonsense. You look how much money the church, the Catholic Church, the Prod Church has. I mean, you've got a bloke who's sat on a fucking throne there that's worth millions and millions telling us we've got to give our money to charity somewhere else. Yeah. Right? It is all, it's not for the right reasons now. It's all about control.
It's elitism. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, it's their way of telling us what to do and controlling us. Now, in the old days, religion used to control the masses really well. You say in a little village like this, you wouldn't have anybody doing their own thing because the community would come together and go, well, that's not very Christian, or what she's doing is a bit of a floozy and we'll end up fucking tarring and feathering the cunt or whatever. You don't get that now. People do what they want. And as I say, atheism is being pushed through the media and through everything else as the new religion. But you can't say that Allah doesn't exist. You can't say that there was no prophet. You can't say any of that. Otherwise, you'd be done for, being anti fucking Islam, won't you? And they're allowed to believe.
It's a bit controversial, but I think the Christian God, Catholic God, all same thing. Allah, same thing. It's just a different fucking translation of language.
Well, you look at which religion was there first, right? And then you look at which religion came after. I mean, the youngest religion is Sikhism, isn't it? If I'm right.
It's either Hindu or Jewish. It's one of them two.
No, I think Jews were.
But what baffles me is, why do you all report to the Vatican? Every single religion leaders, every time there's a new pope, they all report to the Vatican.
Well, they all scratch each other's back, but that's also why that you'll probably find that. Do you remember lately that when they were doing this thing when they were going to let a lot of clerics, Muslim clerics, go and take prayer within Christian churches? What was that about?
Yeah, fucked up diversity, I think.
It is fucked up, but it just shows you that all of this is just bollocks, because you go back fucking 150 years ago, this just would not have happened.
Oh, no.
But that's what we've got at the moment. We've got people here that are allowed to have a strong faith and promote their faith. We've got more than one people, the Jews and the Sikhs and the Muslims. But us...
And going back to my original thought is politics and greed is what is making this happen. It ain't us little people, us plebs, us working class.
Well, we're played off against each other for that reason, so that they can go on doing what they're doing and we won't be able to notice because we're too busy doing something else. But this is the same in Roman times. They're bred in circuses.
And as soon as we all realise this, whatever religion you are, unite, and that's it.
Well,
power by numbers.
Thing is, right, if there hadn't have been this bullshit going on, we wouldn't have invited all these different religions into our country anyway. But then if we
You
were
invite the different religions into the country to keep our wages low.
exactly that, and also to break up the cohesion of the society that we had and break it down.
I'm going to say the whole point of pulling statues down is to try and erase our history and our nationalism.
Well, it doesn't take much these days. Go and have a look what ancient European man is, right? And they'll just show you a load of black people.
Exactly.
So they're rewriting history anyway. Now, when the Germans did the book burning thing, I mean, they keep bringing that up now. Oh, it's a terrible thing, but you're allowed to rewrite history, and that's not the same. You know, and our version of history is also very tainted because the people that wrote recent history are the ones that are still rewriting history now. So our version of
I'm gonna say they were burning books not that long ago, wasn't it? Coronavirus, common cold.
Yeah. Do you remember when the cold and the flu fucked off for 2 years on holiday and the coronavirus took up the slack? Yeah, it's a joke. My fucking nose is itching now as well. Must be cold.
I'm going to say coronavirus. As soon as it went online in 1898, coronavirus equals common cold. Oh, no. It's not coronavirus. It's COVID-19.
So somebody said in the comments, by the way, they were burning porn. But coronavirus or COVID-19 or COVID has been about fucking years. But the 19 is the part, the latest incarnation. That's what it is.
Yeah, because it allegedly didn't come into this country until 2020.
I can't answer you that. Because I was one of these that just rolled my eyes at it, I haven't taken anywhere near as enough attention into it as I probably should have done. But there it is. Anyway, I am going to get off now. I'm probably getting early night. Well, it's not that early, but
no problem.
No worries. Will you take it steady? All right.
Yeah. Take care, Simon.
Right, see you later, mate. Bye bye.
All right.
Well, there you go. I am getting off now. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you all in a bit. All right.